in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to UFO Undercover, with your host, Joe Montaldo.
I just got to laughing ahead of time there. Welcome, everyone, as Natasha says, to UFO Undercover. I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's show. God only knows what we're going to be talking about. Aliens, aliens' mamas, aliens' daddies. Why did they probe people, especially in New Mexico? I don't know what the hell it is going on out there. They like these people in New Mexico for some reason. They're, I guess because the people in New Mexico are weird. That's what it is. They're just weird. They're just weird.
They're very close to California, so
maybe, I know, and they are blue
off from the water. I don't know what it is, but
I'm confused. Okay.
In every, you probably know more than I do because you have so many cases. But in almost every UFO abduction case I've ever heard of, there's very little devices being inserted into the human body.
Yeah, not by aliens anyway.
Yeah, it was Betty Hill described what later would become known as an amniocentesis being done on her, and an advanced alien species. Well, they'd have like Dr. McCoy's thing, they'd oh, she's fine, send her back.
Yeah, every when you listen to the Hills case, when you listen to Betty speak, everything she says sounds like traditional C2C. It sounds like that the government picked them up. It sounds like they were abducted in Canada. The government picked them up in the United States, I guess because they didn't want a political incident if somebody found out. But you hear things like paperback books, hardcover books, pull-out drawers, pull-down map, swinging doors, razor blade fluid samples taken with, well, basically just pee in a cup kind of thing, taken with needles, taken with razor blades. I mean, just they're and plus, plus they walked up steps to get into the UFO. I've never ever. That's the only case ever in history where they walked up steps to get into UFO. But everybody wanted to go, oh no, Joe, you're wrong. That's not what it is, Joe. It's aliens. No, you dumbasses. It was the government acting like. I don't even think the government was trying to act like aliens. I mean, Betty and Barney both said they were in black shoes, black parachute pants, black shirts, black duck-billed cap. I mean, this is just typical C2C. I mean, that's what this is. It's one of those things. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Let me see. I'll let Jay take over right quick.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So they also describe the hills, the craft that they remember before they were abducted, or when these last memories come up, windows and people in it. Now, people have said they've seen windows with alien UFOs, but most alien craft don't have a window. They have like a metal type panel that can turn clear, and it can turn clear so they can see out, but you can't see in. Or it can turn clear enough so that you can see out and they can see out. So they have that technology, which is, I think we have that now. Some of our government has conference windows that turn smoky. Are you aware of this? Like the clear panels on the vehicles, the alien vehicles, not the alien reproduction vehicles, they don't have windows. It's all solid metal. And the exterior of the hull can be turned clear like a window, or it can remain opaque so you can't see in, but they can see out. So the hills describe seeing windows.
Yeah,
and the alien craft wouldn't have windows.
They did describe seeing windows. I don't know what it was.
Well, and people behind those windows as well. And they did say people. They didn't say little alien guys or children-like people. They said people.
It was very weird. It was very weird. The whole thing was really, 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 really weird. Hey, Leah, reboot your thing. Re-enter again. You got some kind of weird static followed you. They got some weird. The whole case. Now I don't understand it. So when you listen to Simons talk about this, did the hypnosis, he figured there was something else going on, but he couldn't put his hands on it. And I kept telling everybody, there's 3 sets of memories. Pay attention to what's going on here. And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah. Go listen to the tapes. There's 3 sets of memories. There are the memories of them being taken on this, whatever this craft was, which was not an alien craft. This was some kind of government thing that was going on. There are memories of the extraterrestrials, and then there are memories of somebody planting cover memories in their head, because there was cover memories there as well. So, there was too many sets of memories for just an alien contact. It would only been 2. Maybe only 1, depending on how the contact took place. So I don't know why so many people had such a hard time when we rewrote the case. I mean, it fit better than what it was originally said. And everybody's going, well, she was an expert. No, she wasn't. She was a nobody.
She was a math teacher. What, from Connecticut?
Yes, she was married to a mailman who knew absolutely squat. They knew nothing about aliens.
Air Force, though, wasn't he? He was military before he was.
I don't know if he was military before, or if the military just had an interest in him. I'd have to look it up to be 100% sure.
Okay.
I know that he had an
There's
Air Force
connection there, though.
I know he had an Air Force colonel that lived with him. I also know that he was friends with 2 other Air Force colonels, which I don't know if people understand. So you don't just go make friends with Air Force colonels, okay? Air Force colonels are the next line to general. You're one step off of a brigadier general or something along those lines. That's where you are. And they usually have lifelong friends that they've known. So the guy who lived with him knew Betty and Barney Hill for a long time. It always amazed me that Barney was the one who seen a psychiatrist when he was young, not Betty. He was the one that's seen all the weird stuff. Matter of fact, Betty didn't have any kind of contact until this particular contact, which doesn't make her a contactee. It just makes her a spouse along for the ride.
Well, no, but she was abducted. She was taken on that, and probably the only time she was taken. But she has no memory of that. I mean, at least aliens were able enough to wipe her memory to the point she doesn't remember.
Because they just sat her down and knocked her out because she wasn't part of what was going on. I asked her on a double occasion. We had mutual friends, and I asked them on a dozen occasions. I said, "Why don't you ask her if I can do voice stress analysis and hypnosis?" I said, we can finish this off once and for all. And then she calls me and said, "Well, you just don't think anything happened." I said, "No, I do think something happened." I said, I think y'all were taken in Canada. That's where the original abduction happened, because that's the place where you had all the weird memories. And then you were picked up by the government inside the U.S. borders. I said, you already know they were tracking y'all. I mean, you had freaking Colonel living with you. I mean, he was still seeing a shrink. So every time he went to shrink, that was being reported.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no doubt that the government was. This was probably one of the first cases the government actually had enough information on to follow and track and see what happens in an alien abduction, or at least to try to see what happens.
Yeah, they were probably sitting around with a strike team ready to go as soon as he was grabbed, so they could send more doctors to pick him up afterwards. Just because you don't want him to wash off any evidence.
Yeah, he got invited to the White House. He was a postman. His wife was a teacher, and it was an interracial marriage, no less.
Yeah, in the 60s, 50s, 60s.
In the 60s and almost in the 70s. And he, people want to talk about this, but that still wasn't socially really acceptable in the United States at the time. And they were doing a lot of TV. They were doing a lot of radio. It was almost like it was an easy way to put a black and white couple on TV, because you're not paying attention to the race, because it's so, what they're talking about is so out there that the race is just a secondary thing. Mm-hmm. It was actually quite slick, to be honest with you. It just seemed because, and then they invited them to the White House, and then they went in for hypnosis. Dr. Simpson did the hypnosis, or Simons did the hypnosis. I'm sorry. And then all of this goes down, and when you listen to them, and somewhere I got the original tapes because a friend of ours sent them to me, and we had gone through them. I card going through them. Jesus, 2.5 decades ago. We sat down as a group and went through them to see what we could find. And the more we listened, the more we were convinced that what happened in the United States was a military abduction, and the real abduction happened in Canada. I mean, just the simple fact that they didn't even know the color of the guy that asked for directions. So Betty describes him as a white Irishman. And as far as I know, she didn't describe him as a white Irishman cop, just as a white Irishman. Barney describes him as a thin black gentleman cop. Betty says he was white, kind of chunky Irishman. The descriptions, I'm not even close. So where they had breakfast that morning, they couldn't remember the place they had breakfast or the hotel they stayed at. Yeah. Now, I got to tell you, if it's the next morning, unless I've been out drinking all night, I'm going to remember the hotel I stayed at. Even if I was out drinking all night, I'd probably still remember it.
Even if you can't remember the name, you should at least have the bill. In your hand.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
but in this case, they were sitting across the street from them. So they went to breakfast right across the street from the hotel. In the old days, they used to do that a lot. They'd put like a cafeteria across the street, like a Denny's or something, or whatever they used to call them back in the day. They would put them right across the street from them. So and it was probably a chain restaurant that they should have remembered the name of the chain, but they didn't. No, they didn't remember the chain. And then Barney died fairly early in life, and Betty lived quite a bit longer. But
she died in the 80s, I think.
Yeah. And like I said, her and I had mutual friends, and they used to get mad at me because they thought I was picking on her. But I wasn't. I just didn't feel like she was a contactee. I couldn't find any evidence to suggest she was a contactee. And then the refusal of taking the voice stress polygraph or being hypnotized to see what was going on just made it even worse.
But the weird thing about her is, though, she does describe she does describe a solar system that seemed unfamiliar to her. And she was told by, at least to her memory, she was told by the lead alien that it was a depiction of a star system in this galaxy looking at Earth from that solar system's perspectives. And then she later drew this map, and it didn't correlate to anything that we had star mapped at that point, like the early 70s, mid 70s. But then late 80s, they made a computer program that was able to map the stars, and they could look. I'll put my camera back on. I'm eating here. They could make it so you could rotate from anywhere in the galaxy and look in any direction with this program. So they did that with her map, and it matched up to exactly the Zeta Reticuli systems, which is A-B systems, 2 stars.
But let's put the whole story out there.
I was going to get
4 solar systems.
First,
not 1, but 4.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of solar systems, but the main system that is in the middle is Zeta Reticuli A and B. But she recalls pulling a map down, like a the old style
pull down map,
movie theater screen she had in school. She pulls that down to see the map. But if she was abducted by a MyLabs thing, how would they have a map of Zeta Reticuli looking at Earth? So I think there's some crossover memory with that memory where she's pulling down maps and things in the actual abduction.
But you don't know if Barney actually told this, because she took a lot of stuff, a lot of liberties on herself, that we found out doing interviews with the Hills that this was Barney, not Betty. So she was using some of his stuff to make her look better or sound more like an abductee, because she wasn't getting the attention he was.
He may want the information to get out, but not have it come through him, because he did not like the subject. He was, I don't know if he was deathly afraid of the idea of it, or
in a couple of tapes,
very greatly the whole situation.
Well, in a couple of hypnosis tapes, when they finally get to the aliens, he's screaming. I mean, he's in terror,
screaming and crying. Yeah, I've heard those.
He's just in fear, but she wasn't. Which means she wasn't. She never actually seen the real aliens. She was off somewhere else when it was happening, or knocked out. See, there was a couple of things that when you listen to the interviews they do, they tell you that she just wasn't the contactee he was. And it wasn't uncommon for people to be married to a contactee and not be a contactee. I mean, that didn't even start changing until the 90s. And I only think it started changing because the aliens recognized what the researchers were doing, the same reason they changed missing time and the way they looped the memories. It was because it was reaction. So they said, okay, well, you know what? We have all of these contactees. Let's see which ones, play nice together. And I will say this, contactees that meet each other and get married tend to stay married. There's the rate of divorce amongst contactees, I think, is less than 2%, which the national average is 50, which it's actually come down some, but still 2%. And we're talking people who've been married. Some of these people now have been married 30 and 40 years. Yeah. So it's a different kind of thing, I guess. They say it's because they're on the ship and they get to know each other on board the craft. And that's why when they finally meet each other here on Earth, there's already a contact been made. There's already some kind of connection. Whether it's true or not, that's anybody's best guess. But I mean, with all the caseloads we have, almost all the cases say the same thing. When you get them under hypnosis and you open up the memory, it tends to be about different things that were going on with type of ships, things that were going on, how certain types of training, how the ships actually work, how they put things together, how you can. So if you're like a single one, like you're a keeper and you have your own room, so they just give you an empty room. Whatever you think of is what the room becomes. So wherever you want to sink, wherever you want to bed, whatever kind of screens, however you want the monitors and boards to look that you're going to be using, because a lot of them will tell you there's other aliens on board. And sometimes when you go in their room, what we would consider a keyboard is much different. It's different shape. The keys are all, instead of being letters or numbers, the keys are all different shapes. So which I guess could get a little complicated after a while unless you really knew what you were doing. But they talk about things in great detail. And when these people are lie detected, they're telling the truth. And the thing of it is really that people don't want to go public with it, but they are telling the truth. They do pass voice stress and polygraph. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to pass. Well, passing one, yeah, you might get lucky. Passing both, that you're either just an excellent liar and should be working for the government, or you have, you're an alien contactee that only ever seen one. I don't know. It's really weird. So it just seems like the way it's set up these days is some of this stuff is reaction from us, from I shouldn't say us, I should say the researchers in the field. And then of course when we go back to the polygraph and voice stress, if you don't want to take it, more than likely you're lying. It's a good chance or a good possibility that if you're voice stressing, if you're refusing voice stress or a polygraph, you're lying. It's like, is there like an alien grabbing Leah while we're talking? What the hell is that?
It's a sunflower.
No, the thing in front of her looks like a thing going up and down. I'm thinking the aliens have got her ass and just don't want to tell us about it. If y'all hear Leah start screaming, people run like hell wherever you are on the planet because they got your ass.
They're here.
they know they got you. And they're using the reptilians are using Leah for bait.
They're gonna get. They don't don't want nothing to do with me. Nobody does.
No, the reptilians are using you for bait, man. We gotta watch out. Jerry Lynn, what was that? Certain types. So getting back to the Hill case, so I know we keep switching around on y'all, but when it comes right down to the Hill case, there's just no real evidence to say that what happened inside the United States was an alien abduction. It does seem like it was a military abduction. What's funny about this, like Kathleen Maldron rewrote this. If you ever go read the book, she takes away the pull-down map and puts a screen up there. She actually removes quite a things that the Hills said that were period for the time period they were living in and changed it to period to now. Okay, that was just a shitty thing to do. Why would you do that? I mean, anybody who's ever read or listened to any of the Hill stuff knows what you wrote is a lie. It's not a truth. It might be not be a deliberate lie.
There's interviews with them where they describe those same instances that have been changed. So
they always pretty much describe them the same way. Now, Betty started changing some stuff after Barney died, and I think she was being coerced by other people. I know, like Ava and a few other people that are friends of ours were over there trying to converse her to say other things, but she was trying to stick to what actually happened. I mean, and remember, this is the only case she ever talked about until later in life, and then all of a sudden there was one or two others, and that's another one I think that was coerced. I don't think those were real cases. I think she was just being pushed to say something, because in ufology, you're only as good as your last big thing. If you're not putting something out big every couple of months, nobody's paying attention to you. You know, they just move on to whatever the next thing is. I mean, let's be honest. What was his name? Koresh was the spy who gave testimony, 4 months ago? Is that how long ago was it? 3 or 4 months ago? And who's paying any attention to him? Nobody. Nobody pays any attention to this guy whatsoever. So Koresh or Krush, whatever his name was, goes out and gives all this outrageous testimony about aliens falling through stargates and humans having 76 craft and 100 and something grays. This is a government spy, a government spook who said this, but he had never seen any of it. He had just seen the paperwork for it. One, if the aliens are that stupid, I don't even know why they're bothering to keep coming here. If I was him, I'd just go somewhere else. If they can't even get to the planet without landing, let's not forget they've been coming here much longer than America's been a country. So what were they, like, stockpiled waiting on us or something? You know, the flying saucers. Was it like a big stockpile, like a couple thousand of them? I mean, if they just fly through and wreck, I mean, some of the shit that people say, you just got to laugh at. And nobody believed this guy. The only person that believed this guy was Dr. Greer, and Dr. Greer is shady to start off with. You know, he's. Well, what? Oh, you better restart it, man. You get these weird glitches. I don't know. Uncle Sam loves us all, people. That's all I can tell y'all. But I wouldn't believe half of the shit that came out of anybody's mouth that works for him. And when you talk about this Crush guy, whatever his name is, he gave detailed testimony on how they would come out what we would call a Stargate and just fall on the ground. Really? Now, how many times are you going to do that before you stop doing that? 5, 10, 100, 5,000, 10,000. I mean, they've been here for at least 200,000 years, which means if they put one a day in, there's what? 100,000 craft laying around? Give me a break. I mean, sometimes they don't think before they run their mouths. And again, this guy who was a spy had never seen any of this, any of it. I can't find anybody in the government who said they've ever seen more than one saucer. And I know people as high as Space Command, the top generals there. I mean, and no one's if ever seen. Yeah, you're gonna have to. It's just weird the way they do that. But yet here's this guy out of the blue because Greer was trying to push some dimensional theory, and this what this was all about. It wasn't really about what this Crush guy had to say. It was about Dr. Greer pushing this theory because, again, he's fading out, and you're only as good as your last thing. And he's the one that brought this guy in. And this guy said a bunch of outrageous stuff. I mean, just outrageous shit. And then never could back it up with anything. And then he said, well, I'll go in a skiff and back it up. Well, yeah, I spent what? 18, 24, 32 hours in a skiff with a polygraph connected to him. He wouldn't even put a polygraph on it. And so if you're going to give evidence, do it right. You know, at least make it believable, not bullshit like these guys are talking about. What's that, Jackie? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We're going back to the Hills again. I don't really know when it comes to Betty Hill. I don't know. She just never panned out to me to be a contactee. No, I'm not speaking ill of the dead. I liked Betty. I met her once or twice and talked to her, and she knew how I felt. And she never really argued that Barney was the primary contactee, is how she said it. But she had been taken as well. And when you get into military abductions, when you hear people talk about military abductions, MILABs, when you hear them talk about military abductions, they talk about people in black shoes and black pants and black shirts and black duck-billed hats with no insignias anywhere, but definitely human. Taking them, and they also, yes, they talk about them, and then they talk about them like Travis Walton and a few others with the CDC uniforms.
I told you about that dream I had, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the correlation between dreams and supposed memories of abduction? You know, I mean, could what I think of to be of dreams actually memories?
But it could be, yeah. I mean, it's hard. You'd have to get in, do some hypnosis and stuff, maybe some polygraphs or something, or some voice stress. But it's always possible because sometimes we dream about reality. We dream about things that happen to us, and sometimes we dream about things that happen to us so we can figure out a way to correct them. It doesn't always work, mind you, but a lot of times the brain does that. It'll see something or experience something and say, okay, I can dream about this, and in my dream, because your mind's at sleep, at rest, you may figure out something you could not figure out when you're awake and stressed, because your mind's not near as stressed when it's sleeping as it is when it's awake. So you can see things that have happened to you, things that have been involved with you. So when you see something like that, first thing you have to do is look around. You really do. You have to look and see what your environment is. Where are you? Is there anything around? Is there paper around? Is there equipment around? Is there lighting around? Is there floors around? Is there other people around? Is there weird looking people around, like with red hair or something? For some reason, the weird Dr. Hybrids all have red hair. I don't ask me, people. I have no idea why. And it doesn't matter. Recently, we found it doesn't matter if they're male or female. They all have this weird. And when we say red, it could be anything from a light ginger to a deep dark, almost orange.
What about just like a quintessential like fire engine red?
Yeah, it's any range in those colors. The other weird thing is they tend to be usually taller than anybody around them. Not always, but most of the time, about 90% of the time, they're generally taller than anybody around them. Most people think they're some type of hybrid. They're a cross between humans and whatever alien we're talking about. And they're here to perform a lot of the different experiments, from like the milking machines to the stirrups to everything in between. They get into these in a great deal, and it's really kind of scary that they just come in, do their business. And what's weird is when I talk to women about it, there's a sense of fear there, but not a sense of fear like, let me get out my whatever and start running my ass down the road. It's not like that. It's kind of different, but there's still a sense of fear there. But it doesn't seem like a sense of fear, like they don't feel like they're going to be killed or beat up or anything like that. They're just scared because they don't really know what's coming next or what's happening. And then a lot of them get pissy because it's almost like going to see a gynecologist in some aspects because of some of the things that they're doing, especially if you have I don't want to call it a false pregnancy because that's not what it really is. It's a real pregnancy that seems to just disappear at 3 months, or maybe usually at 3 months. So we've got so many cases where women have gone and been tested and tested positive. Women have gone and had what do you call it when the ultrasounds and the baby was there, and then all of a sudden the baby wasn't. What's weird about it though is it's the baby was gone, but there was no there was no residual damage to the woman. In other words, all the ovaries were right. It didn't. All the hormones were right. Nothing seemed to have changed. So it was just like they hadn't been pregnant. It's kind of weird, but we hear this a lot. We had at one time we had more than 5,000 cases. I would have to look to see how many cases we have now. It doesn't seem to happen as much as it used to, though, or at least we don't hear about it as much as it used to. I think in the beginning, what they were doing is they were just making sure that this baby, this hybrid, like Rachel's Eyes child, wasn't to the point that it couldn't live in our society. So I think that's all they test for. Can this child be allowed to live in our society? Does it look normal enough and act normal enough to be part of the human society? If not, they take it back to the ship and let it grow up on the ship. And it might become one of them weird redheaded doctors. I don't know, but they do it that way. And that's what they're looking for. And so you would figure in all those cases, so we figured, like I said, we have over 5,000 cases where the babies were taken, and probably more like 7 or 8, maybe even 10,000 now. So that makes me wonder in how many cases matched. They didn't have to be taken back. Where are they? Who are they? What children? A lot of them would be adults today. Who the hell are these people? These hybrids? Where are they living? What are they doing? Are they up in society somewhere? Are they rich, politicians, powerful? Are they just everyday people? And there's no way for us to find that out. All we know is, they're a contactee like every other contactee. It doesn't really tell us how that there was some type of hybrid. There's just no way for us to see it. I mean, in Rachel's Eyes case, she was different enough that the government got involved. They got interested. She had to have special food. She was built different. She was tall and thin. She could learn a language in less than 4 minutes. Any language she's seen, she learned in less than 4 minutes. And the girl was brilliant. But she did definitely seem to possess psychic abilities and things like that. So the government was very, very interested in her. She was going to college. Her mom was going to college. She wrote the book Rachel's Eyes. It's a well-written book. And they talk about this girl and the things this girl went through going to college. And then one day, poof, like Puff the Magic Dragon, she was gone. Nobody knows where, nobody knows how, nobody knows who. She was just gone. Uncle Sam said, "Thank you very much," or E.T. said, "Thank you very much," and somebody got her, and that was the end of that. Now nobody knows anything about it. I mean, she'd still be alive today. She's younger than I am, so she'd still be alive. Where she would be, who she would be, does she work for the government? Is she a psychic for one of the government labs? Or did the aliens take her back and say enough of this bullshit before she blow up something or kill somebody? Nobody knows because there's no way to find her. Her parents are gone, so I don't even know if you could identify her today. It's a strange case. What's that, Christopher? No, I don't. Liar is a strong word for Betty. Maybe confused might be a better word. Yes, I don't. Well, because I don't really feel she was outright lying like just an asshole. I just feel like she wanted to be involved. She wanted to be part of it. And in a way she was, because I mean, she don't remember anything from any alien abduction, but she does remember the military abduction quite well. She remembers a lot of things like the swinging doors and some guy who had a big nose on him that looked like I can't think of the actor's name now, but he looked like and stuff like that. So it's there was a lot of stuff that she remembered, but none of the stuff that we would consider alien abductions. We would consider it something else. Yeah. No, it's nothing we would consider alien abductions. Yeah. Leah is an alien. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. She is an alien.
I've been told
gosh.
I'm a hybrid. I've been told
she's definitely an alien. Screw the hybrid. She's an alien. She's just in disguise.
I don't belong here. I know I don't.
One day she's just going to peel her face off and there's going to be a gray standing there and we're all going to be like, oh, shit. No, I'm not an alien. What are you talking about? You mean contact? Who had contact? I don't know what you're saying. In this population in our country, I would estimate that worldwide the abductions are around 15%. Oh, I wish I'd have never said that. I had Alfred Weber on, and I said that one time. I said 15%, and he comes up with this number 1.5 billion. I'm like, Alfred, why'd you say that on the air? And that's all I got to hear now. Is for like 3 years, I got every scientist on the planet, and that's what's so funny. Nobody was paying any attention to this shit until we said that. And then all kind of science started chiming in. Oh, that's why it couldn't be possible. This is why. The Scientific Australia wrote a whole article on me. Oh yes, a whole freaking article. It was. We're talking. Yeah, this wasn't like 2 pages or anything. It was crazy. I remember one of my directors sent it to me. He said, "Joe, you're gonna love this," and he sent it to me. And the guy had to admit that we do use real science in the organization. He said he was quite impressed that he found an organization that actually does use science and not just hearsay. He said, but in this case, he couldn't figure out how we came to this number. And so I wrote a 5-page rebuttal, sent it back to him, which they published, by the way. I'm amazed they published this. They published it, and then the guy wrote I forgot what you called it to that, and then we talked. He actually called me on the phone, and we talked, and we discussed how we figured this out. And he was quite intrigued that the amount of science using when I told him some of the projects we were working on and how we were doing, he was like, wow. He said, y'all are really in this for the truth. Y'all aren't in this for the crazy. I said, no. I said, we try to limit as much crazy as we can because there's so much good information out there. What's that? No, first off, Christopher, everybody who says they're an abductee is not. Nope. You want me to put a number on how many people are lying? No. How many people are telling the truth? You're an ass. Probably 2 in 10, maybe 3 in 10. It's one of the reasons we developed the abduction criteria. So a long time ago, way many moons before Leah was even born, we came up. I was working for MUFON at the time, and we came up with what you call abduction criteria, 5,500 cases. And then after that, after the 5,500 cases, I had left MUFON because they'd become the black hole of Calcutta. Everything that you sent in stayed there. It just wouldn't come out. I mean, you couldn't get anything information back. Nobody wanted to discuss it. It was just in there. And Walt Anders was a friend of ours. We worked for him, and he didn't understand why there was so much hate against anything that was called alien abduction. There was just so much of it. So many people were so angry and just wanted to hate so bad that they couldn't figure out, why there was so much just pure hate. Why was there? Why did it matter? I mean, for the everyday person, what do you care if someone says they've been taken by aliens? It's not like they're taking your children or anything.
I have a question.
Huh?
Do you think that based on someone's disposition, whether or not they think negative or positive or whatever, that even though they were found to be an abductee or a contactee, that throughout their life that could just fade away into being psychosis? And even though they were found to be that, throughout their life they just I don't know, it's like it became untrue.
Well, I mean, yeah, you yourself can make it untrue. It's you can go back into hiding and deny everything you've learned and make it untrue. Yeah, anybody can do it. But somewhere in the back of your head, it's always going to be bothering you because it's not really untrue. Something happened, and it's there. So, and this is why I always warn people about letting anything out, anything, people ask me all the time about doing hypnosis. I said, look, once you let the monkey out the box, there's no putting the little bastard back in. Okay, it's just not. He's out. It's out. You're not. There's nothing you can do. It's out.
Will you do hypnosis on me, please?
We can, yeah. We'll have to set it up and do it, and it's going to take a little time. But
saying that for years.
No, we can do it soon. I mean, we can do it probably within a week or less, maybe within a weekend or something. It allows people. What hypnosis really does. I mean, besides helping us gain research, it allows the individual to experience whatever this is in a controlled environment. So what I mean by that, I'm going to bring you to a point where you're going to get to pick what scene you want to see. And let me warn everybody about this. When I say that, sometimes people pick scenes that have nothing to do with alien abductions. So I asked a lady one time, I said, well, what's the worst one that you can think of? Well, this went back to her husband at 19 beating the living shit out of her. Had nothing to do with aliens whatsoever. So you have to be very specific in the questions because you never know what's going to come out. But it helps. It allows you to see it. So I can control how much fear you're going to have. As a matter of fact, I control where there's no fear at all if I want. So usually when we use the voice stress, we like to let people relive the experience because then we get to see what the stress points were. In other words, if you're telling me under hypnosis that this alien did this, this, and this, and this, and my meter's doing this, I know you're not telling me the truth. Because the meter, there's no way you can go through an alien abduction and the meter not be like that. Usually the meter's going to be like, it's going to go all over the place because it's fear and it's a ton of it. And sometimes it's not even fear, sometimes it's exhilaration, but regardless, it's a very powerful emotion and it can't just sit flat. It has to be moving. So that's why we do that. But if I see that the individual is experiencing too much, I can turn it off. I can turn it off the way they don't feel anything, which is also dangerous. But you can turn it off to the way they don't feel any emotion whatsoever. They're just, well, Joe, the alien did this and then took a silver spoon and stuck it in my nose and stuck this in my ear and blah, 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 went on and on and on and on and on. And there's nothing there. There's just no emotion whatsoever, even though you're reliving this, but you're reliving this in a confined space. Also, we can lock that emotion so that when you leave, you don't have to experience it in an overwhelming sensation anymore. So we prefer people once they understand what it is to control it themselves because it's better. Because it's better in ways because it teaches you control of not just that but other things. By gaining control of that experience, it gives you control of other abilities that you haven't woken yet, and that's another risk. When you're under hypnosis and you're talking about some of the stuff that goes on board a craft, there's a risk that you may awaken like empathic or telepathic abilities or other things besides that, or other things that may have went on board a craft that you weren't even aware of. There's lots of things that go on board crafts, especially people who have been there for long periods of time. So they can take you for months. And as far as any time passes here, it's been no time or hours. And it's funny because I tell this story a lot because this is a funny story. I went to dinner with a family of contactees when I was a husband and wife in Pensacola, Florida. We went and had dinner with them. We left them at about midnight, 12:30 to go back to the hotel. I get a frantic call at 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, what the hell's going on? You got to come, you got to come, you got to come, you got to come, you got to come. So I get over there. And my boy, who was clean shaven, has got a beard like this, not like mine, but I mean way out like this. He looked like one of the pirates. Her hair and her leg was this long. You know how long it takes a woman to grow hair that long on her legs? You're talking months. Yeah. And so we went to the doctor and asked if there's any weirdness, and he said, "Well, they just grew." I said, "No." I said, "I seen them last night. There was no hair anywhere." I said she was wearing a dress. I said, "Wait, here's the picture." I actually brought the picture of them from the night because we took pictures. And I said, you can obviously see her legs are clean shaven. His face is clean shaven. And I said, today and he's pulling on it. Then he pulled some out just to make sure it was real. To draw blood and make sure it was real. You heard the guy screech like a little baby girl. He did it on both of them and they were real. I mean, came out follicles and everything. So He's like, I have no answer for this whatsoever. So then we scheduled hypnosis to see how much memory was there. So the first session gave us an idea that there was a lot, not hours, but days of being on board the craft, dealing with this, doing this, staying with this person, meeting this person, learning this lesson, being part of this group or that group or that group or this group, learning how. Some of them even learn how to fly, and I'm not talking about aircraft here. I'm talking about whatever they're flying over there. It's almost like in some ways that these people are being prepared for another life somewhere else. Will it be this lifetime? Will it be the next lifetime? I don't really know, because since they had,
there are some abductees that they call themselves the 20. Not that there are 20 of them, but what they have in common is that they allegedly have spent 20 years training to use alien equipment and I guess weapons in some sort of battlefield, or just maybe just army training, maybe not necessarily at war, living this for 20 years and then coming back, but they're like 12-year-old kids that are saying these things.
Well, we do know they can take you for as long as they want and put you back anytime they want. So the problem for them is how do you keep someone aging? If you've got them keeping somebody 3 or 4 months is one thing. You're not going to really notice any age. Taking a 12-year-old and keeping them doing stuff for that means they would be 32 when you decide to bring them back. So what did you do? Shrink them back to the 12-year-old size again, or did you
just
freeze
download their memory from the 32-year-old body into their 14-year-old?
See, that's what I'm thinking. I think they're taking the children, like you said, and uploading their consciousness into a different body, probably some type of field represented body that's probably even made for military. They probably do. We've got hundreds, probably even thousands of contactees that have said they have been in war footing scenarios, not any real wars, mind you, just war footing scenarios, like they were being trained for this, that, or the other thing. And some were gray, some were reptilian, some were humans, and they don't seem to be being trained to fight each other. So you just got to kind of wonder what the actual training is for. Who is it? Are they going to go invade another galaxy? Because this galaxy is pretty much locked up as one big happy family. So I mean, we're going to be at Andromeda pretty soon. Not pretty soon, 1 billion years, but still. Is that what this is for? Is this for? We know that the light beams are from a different galaxy.
So, or perhaps there's intel that when we do merge with Andromeda, that there are vicious species there that don't like anybody over here.
That's possible. So you can't. We don't really know. Well, we also know that in our own galaxy, what are we eating? Let's see. The Milky Way is eating 5 other galaxies right now. I think the largest one is the Sagittarius galaxy. It's depositing freaking red dwarfs all over all over the place. I mean, they're everywhere, and that's why a lot of people seem to think that Earth may not be from the Milky Way. Earth may be from the Sagittarius galaxy, and it might be why aliens have such a interest in us. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I've heard scientists debunk it, and I've heard science reinforce it. It's whoever you want to be, because we are surrounded by red dwarfs that are from the Sagittarius galaxy. We're in the middle of it.
There is some interest. I mean, they've been here. If you go by Sitchin's calendar, 450,000 years. If they've been here that long, and we've had tales of the war in heaven, the war in heaven and between heaven and hell, and heaven and earth. So there's 3 different wars, at least spoken about in the Bible. So what if there's some strategic asset on this planet that they're protecting? Some big honking space gun, or maybe we're just strategically well placed to send out jump gates and go hyper warping over to other planets really quickly for tactical and battle reasons. There's some reason why they're here. I don't think it's just us.
Well, yeah, it's us, because there's 8 billion of us. When they came here, there was less than 50 million of them. And in all that time, now there's 8 billion. And in another 500 years, there's going to be 16 billion. I mean, we're a freaking force to be. If you give us alien military grade hardware and turn us loose in the galaxy, it's a big ass force you got to deal with.
Look out, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not. I mean, you're talking 16 billion people and growing every day. I mean, in 1,000 years or 2,000 years, we could find ourselves up to 25 billion. And if you add in Mars and all in, pretty soon we could well be over 30 billion. I mean, that's a force to be. I mean, we grow like weeds. or rats or rabbits, whatever you want to say. Virus. I mean, most people, when you come to this planet, if you came here as an alien, you would think of us as a virus, not as a race.
If you look at any computer models of how the human race evolved from, and they usually follow the out of Africa model, the population growths are in like virological type patterns, like a way a virus grows in the human body.
Yeah, I mean it's the whole damn thing is honking strange.
Yeah.
It's what was that, Frankie? Yeah, everybody who lives in New Mexico is an alien. Yes, no doubt.
That's where what happened to me happened.
Yeah, see, damn freaking New Mexico. Oh my God, you see? Lord have mercy. Oh man, I knew it. Damn alien.
Roswell's a junction point, actually. I think there's so many incidents there.
My uncle, who was
that individual that's hanging out with us down there, is from Roswell.
I had an uncle who worked he was a Marine, and then he went into the Air Force, and he was in like high clearance stuff. That's why they were in Roswell. And anyway, years ago, before he passed away, he told me, Lee, I can't tell you everything, but I just want you to know you're not crazy. And then he died. Like, he called me while he was on his deathbed, basically. And I don't know. He's seen some things working out there at the Air Force Base in Roswell, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I saw some things.
Roswell is a weird place. It's I've been there quite a few times over the years. It's a weird place. It's first off, you have to be weird to live there. You don't have a choice.
I feel like the stories that are out circulating, the things that are made public, aren't necessarily the actuality. Like, it's not really truly what, I just don't think there's any possible way that they would let out God's honest truth about what's really going on and then put it on air for everyone to see.
Well, they don't know what the hell it is. That's the real problem, is Uncle Sam has no idea what the hell is going on. Why do you think they do Milevs in the first place? Because they don't know. And if Milevs would have stopped, I'd say, oh, maybe they figured something out. They ain't got a freaking clue what's going on. Because the aliens don't want them to know.
As in the dark as all of us. They know more than we do, but they're as in the dark as we all are.
From that last thing, when I did that thing at the skiff, I don't think they know more. I don't think they know more than I car. I got to be honest with you. From the questions I was being asked, I'm thinking they way more. Congress is completely in the dark, by the way. They have not a fucking clue what's going on. And what you've got people that work for like Boeing and Lockheed and places like that may have a good bit of knowledge, but they're even stuck because they're so compartmentalized that they get stuck. Now, I got some good friends that work for Boeing. I got quite a few people in the military and some really good positions, but they'll tell you the same thing. They're only allowed to know X amount. That's, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you something. Why somebody, I'm not going to mention his name, because you heard it, you'd be like, wow. It's the reason he contacted me in the first place. He said, you can fill in the gaps. He said, I know all of this, and he knew stuff that I didn't, but I knew stuff in between that he did that helped. And to be honest with you, between the two of us, we actually learned quite a bit of stuff. What's that, Reese? No, I met both the commanders of Space Command, not through anything nefarious, not through aliens and stuff like that. They were keynote speakers at Writers of the Future. John Goodwin introduced me to them. Yes. And the second guy, the 3-star general, he was so funny. I said, hey, let's chat after the event. He said, sure, let's chat. And I told him what I did, and he said, cool. And I noticed he disappeared for a little while. And I also noticed on my FBI thing that I had a hit on somebody looked at my my classification, checking if it was still active. And so I was pretty sure I knew who it was. They would just see that is an advantage I have over most researchers. I do have a Class 10 security clearance, so I can be told stuff and they don't have to worry about it because they just shoot my ass. It's no people. Class 10 is a serious clearance. You mean above top? That ain't shit. I'm just telling you now. I thought about above top. No. Matter of fact, the only person on Nimitz that had a higher or had an equal clearance to me was the captain. He didn't even have a higher one. I would know stuff if I was still in the field. I would know stuff that even the damn president doesn't.
If you believe the rumors, there are allegedly, after the president has, I think, is Q clearance. After that, there are 23 more levels, allegedly.
So let me put it this way: I could go to Area 51 and he couldn't. How you like that? Well, actually, I've been, so I don't know what to tell y'all. Joe Biden ain't letting him go anywhere. I'm just telling y'all now, he's not going anywhere. Donald Trump, they would, but he's got such a big mouth. I don't think they're going to let him either. Barack wanted to go. Clinton wanted. The Clintons were insane. They tried every way. They tried every way they could to get there. I mean, every way they could. They brought in the Rockefellers. Every string they could pull, they pulled to get the truth, and they couldn't. And we're talking about the president of the free world, most powerful nation on the planet, and they still couldn't get it. And as far as I know, only one president's ever been
Bush Sr.
Yeah, to Area 51, and he was at the time the head of the CIA, and that's why he got to go. Somebody said
they're the ones who got the at least the Groom Lake facility going in '57. It was their spy plane takeoff base.
Well, no, guys. So it's weird how the command works like that. It has nothing to do with the president at all. Most of it is run by the CIA. Some of it is run by the National Security Agency, the NIA, and nobody else really has. And they just bring the military out there, except now there's Space Command. So Space Command kind of poofed, put an umbrella over all of it. All the space forces now have to answer to him, whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, any DARPA. Even DARPA has to answer to Space Command now. Yeah, so the president had a good idea. He said, you know what? There's too much shit going on. Nobody knows what's going on. And he just put an umbrella over all of them so Space Command gets to know what's going on. Oh, no, the Space Command don't necessarily get to tell them what to do all the time. But they have to report to them before they do anything. It's a good idea. And we needed something to pull all the agencies together. And somebody needed to get DARPA under the wings, man. Come on, DARPA was just running crazy. I mean, they were. So it's nice to see all of this being controlled now and being put under where it needs to be. And so that'll be good for the future, for the most part. And now they want to move. They want to move the spaceport from New Mexico to Texas. Yes. What do you mean, Jack? Because everybody in New Mexico is crazy. That's why they want to move it. No. You know why they really want to move it is because of Elon Musk and all the stuff he's doing in Texas. Yeah, and Apple's going out there. Bezos is going to Texas. So it's going to be where everything goes on. So they might as well move out there. Bigelow's already got a facility in Texas. California lost all these guys. California had everybody else talking about just right now, but they lost all of these guys.
Texas is going to go from being one of the more affordable places to live to being one of the more expensive places to live.
Austin is worse than California already. Houston's trying to get up there with California. Dallas is somewhere trying to get up there too. Now, if you live outside of those cities and you live in some of the other places, it won't be too bad. But it's but you're right, as it grows, because it's forecast to pass California in population in 5 years, and less than 7 money wise. So, and as California keeps losing these big businesses, it's going to go way faster for Texas, because by taking Elon Musk and Apple and a couple other big businesses, they've already put a big dent in that $2 trillion that California had.
Yeah, I mean, and think about how many employees actually moved with the company to Texas.
A lot, because Elon said this. Apple said the same thing Elon did.
Not all of them did.
No, but what he said was, Apple said the same thing Elon did, same thing SpaceX said, same thing Tesla and him said. If you want your job, you got to move to Texas. And a lot of them were, and you know what? They're going to keep the same salary, move to Texas where things are a little bit cheaper. So you'll be making more money, living in a safer environment. Especially, as long as you don't live in the Gulf Coast, it's you know. Oh yeah, so in California, you buy a 5,000 square foot house in Los Angeles, you 10 million, 15 million. You buy that same house in Dallas, it's going to be 1.5 million, 1.6 million. That's now. Like Leah said, give it some time, and that's going to change. But right now, it's where it's at. But
it's definitely going to.
But as California starts to swing the other way, they're actually forecasting California to be third within 2 decades. Even Florida's going to pass them. So Florida's already at 28 million people. California was at 40, but if they do the true, they're expecting at the next census, California's going to be 36 million people. And Texas is going to be 38, and Florida's going to be somewhere around 32 or 34, if not faster, because the Yankees are leaving New York so fast. I mean, look how fast New York and Florida swapped. New York was way ahead of California. I mean, they still have the largest city in the country with 8 million people. And Florida is, 4 million ahead of them now, both in population and in money. They've already left New York behind. They're chasing Texas right now. And it's a big state, got a lot to offer, and space ports are there. They already got Cape Canaveral down there, so it's.
I mean, it was always weird though. They launched all the space projects, moon projects, Mercury projects, from Florida, but they're all controlled from Houston. Why did
that? Because it's always bugged me. So I remember I was like 14. My dad said so. We went to Cape Kennedy and Cape Canaveral. So when I get to Cape Kennedy, I'm like, I don't understand why do we launch them down there and control them here? He said, because it's much less likely that we're going to get taken by a hurricane or a natural disaster here than they are down there. And it's something, and he's right. I mean, you're talking Cape Canaveral way at the bottom of Florida State. I mean, everything his mama goes through there, man. Cape Kennedy's in the top part of Houston. So unless it's a big storm, it probably won't affect them. I still think that was a hunk of shit. I think there's a different reason, but nobody seems to want to give it up. I mean, I've asked a lot of people. I've asked quite a few astronauts, and they're like, I don't. It's funny. I asked Buzz Aldrin that, and what's the other guy? I was having lunch with him. I don't know why, and Edgar Mitchell, and they said they didn't know. They said they had no idea why they did it that way. He said, I would figure that you could do it down there.
It's strange. I mean, it's directly in Hurricane Alley. There's a large body of water if it were to explode, but it's the state of Florida is right there. If it does explode and goes left, you light up Miami. If it goes right,
well, no, they said something about orbits is why they launched there.
It must be something about going because the planet goes in that direction, and they launch it off.
There's something about orbits down there, because Elon and them said they could be launching way more out of Texas. Now, Elon just yesterday launched out of California, 22 satellites. Mm-hmm. I think it really has more to do with where they want stuff to go.
Well, allegedly, the Apollos 18, 19, and 20, the top secret missions were all launched out of California. I think isn't it Edwards Air Force Base there in California?
They do launch stuff out of Edwards sometimes.
I think that I mean, if they were true, it's just a rumor. But if those three,
well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I knew about. So I had asked a friend of mine. I was down in Florida. It was actually on an investigation for something else. But anyway, while I was there, I wanted to see if I could catch a shuttle launch or something. That's how long ago this was. And I was thinking this could be interesting, catch a shuttle launch. So while I was there, a good friend of mine who worked at the control center there, he's like number 3 guy. And I knew the number 1 guy from an investigation, matter of fact. And I said, we got to talk. And I said, man, why did y'all just waste that? He said, we've always asked that question. I said, so they really didn't fly? I said, because I heard that they flew. He said, yeah, I heard that too. He said, let's go take a walk. He opens this hangar, and they're parked in the hangar, still intact. Hadn't even taken it apart. 18, 19, and 20. All completely put together, all just sitting there in a hangar. I was like, so I thought it was like a hologram with some paper, because I really felt like I was being bullshitted. You know how you get that sense? So I walk over there and go, God damn it, solid. I'm like, oh shit. He said, I don't know why. He said at first, because he didn't know they were there for a long time, and he was bugging the shit out of everybody. He said, well, why did we launch them secret? Is that because Neil Armstrong said the alien said, don't come back to the moon, and we wanted to go, and we didn't want the government, nobody to know on Earth in case something went wrong? That's what I figured too. I figured they found the freaking aliens. They flew up there, and if something went wrong, okay, they could blame it on, they wouldn't know. We wouldn't know. if 18, 19, or 20 flew, we wouldn't know. So I was like, and still, even today, a little part of me still thinks I was being hoaxed, but I couldn't tell you how, because it was legit. I mean, everything, even the capsule was on board. Everything was there. Everything was put together. And so a couple of years later, I was at the Washington Press Club having dinner again with Edgar Mitchell and Buzz Aldrin, and I can't remember the other guy's name, and Stephen Bissett. I was speaking at the conference. So we're at the Washington Press Club. We're having dinner. So I asked him. I said, "I seen this." He said, "Yeah, I seen that too." He said one of the shuttle astronauts took me by. He wouldn't mention his name. Took me by to see it. And I've interviewed like 40 of the shuttle astronauts. And he's like, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "I'm trying to find out why they didn't fly." I said, "I can't find any reason why we. I mean, they were bought and paid for. The crews were trained. All 3 missions were paid for. Everything was paid for. You know, there was no reason not to fly these missions unless we knew something dangerous. But yet we still, let's see, there was he went on Apollo 11, so it was 12, 13 didn't make it because of problems. So there was 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 6 of them still went to the moon. 5 went after the warning. So why did we stop? So I'm not 100% sure. I'm thinking these were mock-ups that were put there for nosy people like me and other astronauts, so that no one ever knew what happened to the other 3 that flew.
Yeah, because I don't think they would keep them assembled, because in every launch, in every Apollo launch, and I think it took several weeks, but they would assemble the craft just before takeoff. It wasn't ready to go months, years, and decades before. They put it together weeks before they actually put it on the launch pad.
So the
thing that carries it it carries, I think it can carry 60,000 tons, but it only moves 1 mile an hour, and it's 25 miles from where they build the thing to where they launch.
That's why they don't fuel it. That's why they don't fuel it
all the way to the launch site once it's assembled. So it's an involved process there in Cape Canaveral.
So he said that they were kept, and were kept assembled in case we ever needed them to go pull a shuttle down. And my eyes just kind of cringed at him. I said, "Well, we've got like 8 shuttles." I mean, he said, "But yeah, most of them are not." He said, "There's really there's one ready following behind." He said, "This would be ready." He said, it's already on the tractor." He said, "It'd just be rolled down there, filled up."
How are you going to rescue a shuttle crew of 9 in a craft that can carry 3?
Yeah, and so even if you only go up with one guy, you're still a little tight. But what he said is that's not how they were going to do it. He said they were going to send along rations and stuff, and pack everything up, and then put the lander on there and take their ass to the moon, and not try to bring them back here, put them in the lander and bring them to the moon, keep some in the lander and keep some. I mean, this guy had a good explanation, but I could tell the whole time it was bullshit.
Bullshit, yeah.
And so I was like, well, if that's what you think, then I asked him, I threw him completely off guard. I said, well, that's enough about that shit. I said, so what about them aliens you're keeping parked in this place? He started laughing. He said, Joe, you know, it's classified. I can't tell you about that. And then I still remember Edgar Mitchell looked at him like, what do you mean it's classified? What, you got aliens? That was too funny. It was just too, oh God, it was too fucking funny. But he did too. And Edgar's like, did he say he had aliens? I said, yeah, he said he had aliens. He didn't say he had them. He said they were living here is what he said on the base. I said, it wouldn't be the first time I've heard that, Edgar, but I said, I've never heard any.
Wrote the book, my life, or my day with or whatever, his whole series of his days with the tall whites, which I think he also calls them the Arcturians. If you believe that, there's allegedly like a vacation Hollywood spot right in the middle of the Nevada test site that aliens can come in and check out planet Earth.
Charles aliens?
Yeah.
Charles aliens crack me up. I mean, I never knew it didn't make out of Charles. I interviewed him about 6 times on his books with hospitality, millennial hospitality or something.
Yeah.
And he talks about how dangerous they were, but if they liked you, how friendly they could be, how somehow or another they used to take him out to Vegas, actually, to let him go gamble. There was only one casino they took him to, but they took him there. And at first I was like, give me a fucking break. Are you telling me that we're taking these weird looking aliens that don't even look like us to a freaking casino? He said, Joe, they were in long gowns and stuff. And he said they had hats on and glasses. He said, you really couldn't tell. I was like,
Yeah, until they wave their hand and incinerate you.
I was like,
Which allegedly
really?
they do.
So they went to this one specific casino. I think it was MGM, and then there was another place, two other places they would take them that weren't casinos. They might have been gambling stuff there, but they weren't casinos. And man, for like 5 years, I didn't get any, not even a bite. I'm thinking, oh, this is Area 53 is bullshit. And I said, I can't cooperate with anything. And I mean, I've got fucking friends everywhere. So I'm like, I was going to give up on it. And then one afternoon, I was actually in my car riding home. I was in my truck, actually. And my phone rings, and I look up, and it says Nevada State Police. And I went, well, I ain't been in Nevada in a few years. What the hell is this about? So I answered it. I answered it, actually answered Maintenance Solutions. And he said, is this iCar? I said, yeah, what can I do for you? He said, are you Joe Montaldo? I said, yes. And I thought, oh, shit, what's coming now? And he says, I can verify Charles Hall's tall whites. And he said, there's another trooper here that can as well. He said, there's also some regular policemen, some cab drivers, he said, there was actually more limo drivers than anybody. It was like 6 limo drivers. And I was like, really? He said, also, I can put you in touch with 4 or 5 military people from Area 53 that have actually seen them. So we went from this many witnesses to about 12. So still 12 is still, I mean, when you talk about the Greys, humans, and reptilians, there are buku people who have seen them. We're talking thousands, even tens of thousands. These guys were 12. I was like, and so it's a start. I mean, it is a start. It doesn't convince me 100%, but so I always believed that Charles Hall believed this. I have no doubt in his mind. I don't think it would have done me any good to polygraph him or to hypnotize him. It was in his mind, whether it was put there, whether it was real or not. He believed this 100%. So you couldn't. There was no way you were going to ever change his mind on it. And I used to talk to his wife about it a couple times, which was a very nice lady, but very protective of Charles. And she said, "Oh no, this is what happened to him." He said he went from just a normal everyday person, just going through life, doing his job, making money, to all of a sudden I'm writing these books about aliens and military secrets. She was like, honey, what are you doing? They're going to put you in jail. And they almost did a couple of times. So, but even today, how many ever years later, this is 20, I think, I'm still not 100% convinced that's not what they are. I'm not convinced that they're not. I'm just not convinced that they are.
There's an even weirder connection. Have you noticed how many names are so similar? You got Charles Hall, the tall white. You got Charles Hall, Rendlesham Forest. You got Walter Howe, Roswell. It's very similar, weird connections. They're not exactly the same last names.
Oh, God.
But they're all 4 letters, and they're all very close.
Them people from Rendlesham hate me. All except for Larry Warren. All the rest of them hate me. So I don't know how many people listening tonight are familiar with Rendlesham Forest. This was a case that lasted for 3 nights. This is an Air Force base in the UK.
Where dual function Air Force base. One half of it was ours, one half of it was the English.
And we had nuclear weapons there.
Yes, and so did they.
And so did they. So something came and landed in the forest. And when I say something, I mean something. Nobody knew what the hell it was. They dispatched a bunch of people to go out and look for it. And this went on for 3 nights. Well, they tried to say it was some lighthouse off in the distance. Well, lighthouse don't leave pod marks in the ground.
Yeah,
and it doesn't mess people's minds up.
And you can't touch them usually, at least not on the ground.
But whatever this was, even messed with the people's minds a little bit. So as time progressed, a friend of mine introduced me to Larry Warren, and he was what I call the outside witness. And we talked for a while, and he came on the show one night drunk as shit. I'm like, Larry, don't do that again. I won't bring you back on my show. But I started asking him questions, and because he was drunk, he started like drunk people do. And I got a lot more information out of him. And so I ran into Colonel Halt at one of the conferences. And I said, I'm getting ready to voice dress Larry Warren. And I said, we're going to voice dress him and polygraph him. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I said, I want to know if you'd like to be involved. I said, I mean, you're one of the key witnesses. And I'm just curious if you'd like to undergo this. He said, well, I really don't have to. People already think I'm credible. I said, no, not really. And he looked at me, and I said, I don't think you're credible. I said, a lot of what you say conflicts with other people. I said, as far as Jim Pennison and Joe Burrows go, saying that they're from the future coming back to do all this stuff, I said, that just made all y'all look like idiots. And I said, you should have denounced them as soon as they said that shit. And I said, they refused to take a polygraph of voice stress. I said, I offered. I said, I even offered to bring in someone that has nothing to do with our group or anybody else and let them do it. And they still refused. I said, you know as well as I do, Charles, when someone refuses, I said, you've been in the Air Force long enough to know when somebody refuses a polygraph, that's an issue. I said, you don't refuse to take a polygraph if you're innocent. You just take it and be done with it. Somebody told me one time, well, it's just the idea that they think I'm guilty. I said, no, they don't think you're either one. That's why they're doing the polygraph, to find out if you are or if you're not.
Maybe the test is the question itself. You don't need to take a polygraph test. You just need to ask if they will or not. And if they won't, then
it works a lot of times.
You need to know.
So anyway, moving along, Larry takes the voice stress and passes. And then I talked with Peter Robbins. Peter Robbins had all the original cassettes from when him and Larry were walking through the woods talking, for the book for Left at Eastgate. So he sent me all of those tapes. I voice stressed every tape, and then I sent him back. They scored a 9+, which means that everything they were talking about, they believed. There was no deception between either one of these guys while they were doing it. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, so he passed the original one for what he saw, and then he passed these for what that's pretty good. And then I can't remember her name. She comes in. She's the #1 polygrapher in the UK. She polygraphed him, and he passed. She just polygraphed him again for the movie Capel Green. And he's been voice stressed 3 times, polygraphed twice, and he's passed every one of them. He's kind of like Fire and Sky guys who passed them all multiple times.
Travis Walton.
Yeah. Well, not just Travis, everybody but the one guy passed them all.
The one guy who refused.
Yeah. Well, he took them. He just. So what they said
took
about
one, and it came back inconclusive, and they asked him to come back, and he said, "Screw you guys, I'm not doing it again."
And it did. Yeah, and it came back inconclusive. They didn't say he lied or told the truth, but there's no need to, because the other 4 passed.
Yeah.
So what they said they saw is what they saw. Well, Reese, a lot of these cases overlap each other.
Yeah, but as I recall, the detective in charge, and he was the FBI. After they all had their test results brought in from the polygraph guy, he said, well, either they're all telling the truth or it's a well-crafted lie. So he still didn't believe him.
Well, no, he tried not to believe him. But then I think somebody else did it, and it kind of left him. I think they brought in their #1 person, and they passed. And
I think it left a bad taste in their mouth, and at least in the police, the FBI.
Yeah, and they really didn't have a choice at that point, but they acknowledged they were telling the truth. They never did say that it was a real case, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. They just acknowledged that they had passed the polygraph and they were telling the truth. The first time was exactly what Jay said. The second time, they just acknowledged, yeah, he passed. Well, they passed because the other guy didn't take it. And that's all they said. Well, they passed the polygraph. So, yeah, you said you were taken by aliens, and you took 2 polygraphs and passed. And it's different because when you task, what's his name? No, you just said his name. The guy, Travis. We voice stress Travis. He passes on the things that happen on board the craft. So you've got him taking polygraphs just prior to what went on, and then you get polygraph with him on board the craft. He passed everything. I mean, let me tell you something, guys. It ain't that easy, especially if you're doing voice stress and a polygraph. It ain't that easy. 98% of the people don't pass a polygraph if they're lying. Only 2%.
I wonder though if you polygraph Travis again, but instead of asking him about things that happened to him during those 4 or 5 missing days, if you ask him about things that were happening on Earth. So if he's on a spaceship, he would fail that polygraph every time also.
Yeah, well, he just said I wouldn't know. I think I can't remember who it was. He'd come on the network, and we were doing a 5-disc set of Travis Walton. We had 5 different hosts that were going to interview him, including myself. And so we set it up to spread it out over a couple of months so we could do it. And I can't remember who it was. one of the female hosts asked him, "Do you remember anything about Earth while you were on board the ship?" He said, "Half the time I don't even remember the ship." He said, "I don't remember anything about Earth until I woke up." And he said, "Not even remembered then until he got out and went somewhere else." He said, "Then I remembered." And he was a handoff case. He was aliens took him and handed him off to the government. Oh, Frankie, a handoff case is when, for some reason, when the aliens take you, they give you to the government. Instead of putting you back themselves, they give you to the government to put back. In Travis's case, it may have been because of where they took him from, they didn't put him back at his home. Maybe.
Yeah, well, they couldn't have put him back where they got him because it's very, very remote. He would probably, if they had left him there and his friends were gone, he likely would have died of elements.
Yeah, or a bear would have bit him in the head and crunched him.
Yeah.
Is that how I'm gonna go?
No, you're gonna live to be 100.
You better not.
You're gonna live to be 100.
No.
Yes, and while we're on the other side, we're gonna go, God damn, she's old now. Jesus.
Please don't make that. Don't put those thoughts in my head.
All right, so we'll make it to 80.
No, no.
Yeah, 80 sounds good. 80, by then you'll have all your abilities under control.
No.
You'll know how to move things with your mind.
I won't have my fucking shitting in my pants under control.
Not all old people do that.
May all be able to levitate. You know, you never know. The aliens may turn on certain genes and or turned off parts of our brains that we can levitate or cause fires with our minds. Think about it.
What's that, Carol? Well, as far as I know, no humans really possess telekinesis yet. I hear rumors, but I haven't seen anything of any kind of real proof.
I've seen some pretty inconclusive up close stuff of a guy moving stuff on a table, and he did it right in front of us. There were like, probably 8 to 10 of us who were kids, 6th, 7th grade, and we were looking under the table, and this, whatever he had on the table would move right towards him. And I don't know how he did it. If it was a sleight of hand or a magic trick, it was really well done because this was like extremely, extremely close up magic. If it is magic.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. If it's real, he'd have Kevin's $1 million. Yeah, what's his face put up? He put up $1 million to anybody who could prove telekinesis. And all you have to do is look at a table, pick up a coin, flip it over, drop it down. That's telekinesis. You'd have that money, but for some reason, no one has been able to do it yet. No, telepathy and empathic abilities are rampant in about 15% of our population have it, which is the same percentage of contactees. That's why we always say that if you don't have it, you're not a contactee.
Yeah. Empathy is like telekinesis, where you can read, gather, and transmit emotions. And telepathy is where you can read, gather, and send mental images and messages.
Now, I can do something that looks like telekinesis. I can get in your head and act like I slapped you inside your head, and then you'll jerk. But it's not actually telekinesis. It's just a reaction in your brain to thinking you've been slapped. It's an illusion.
Well,
and it's being experimented.
Anyone who's been trained by the police in any type of interview type of situations, there are certain types of questions you can ask people that makes it seem like you're telekinetic or telepathic, at least. So it seems like you're grasping ideas out of their mind, but really what you've done is you've done what do they call it? Abductive reasoning, not deductive reasoning like Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes did abductive reasoning, where you take the facts that are there, and from those few facts you put together the whole story. It's not hard to do. If you know the right questions to ask, you can find out people's social security numbers without them even knowing you for an hour. They'll have that number in your head already.
All right, people, just send me money. I don't want your social security numbers. Make a donation to who said that? Go to the UPRN Talk Radio website and make a donation. Yes. Well, why wouldn't you do that? That's the best place to do it at.
And then you can buy me a computer so I can actually
right. Y'all should, while we're on that, y'all should send Leah a computer. I'm gonna have to do this on every show until somebody sends her a computer. Well, I was gonna send her my laptop, but me and Matt figured out it was a piece of shit, and it would be more of a headache than it would be any good. Well, it's a 4-core It was pretty good back in the day, but as soon as we added Windows 10 to it, it went.
Yeah.
If I could have left Windows 8 on, it would have been fine. I mean, not Windows 10. We put Windows 11 on it. It crashed it up. It's I don't know, people.
I don't
It's
want a
got
Windows
16 gig.
machine.
Windows
I
is the
guess
best,
I won't be
man.
picky, but
Why
I
you
want
want
an
that
Apple
crappy
MacBook Pro.
Apple shit? Oh my god, why you want that crappy Apple?
Because then
Apple-
I could play No Man's Sky on it. I could take it to wherever I wanted to go, and I could play No Man's Sky on it.
Why is it only a thing for Apple?
No, but it's the only computer system it'll play on is Apple. But it's
Apple's got such
computer
crappy
systems have always
computers.
tended to be more better artistically. They were better for video games and better for writing and art type
No Man's
projects.
Sky is beautiful on Apple MacBook Pro. I know that because that's what someone I know plays on it.
I don't know. I would damn. The computer I use for work is fabulous, man. I'd never trade it for no Apple. I have Apples. I got 2 in the house, but I wouldn't trade them.
IBM / Windows type computers are actually better for business than Apple are.
Well, yeah.
Although Apple are less likely to be infected. There are less viruses for Macs out there than there are for.
But there's a reason why for that. There's way less programs for Macs than there are for Droids.
Well,
but also two bad things about Apple.
For Mac is also more complicated, so
but there's two bad problems when it comes to anything Apple. One, it's proprietary; you can only use their crap. Two, they charge for almost all of their apps, whereas Droids are almost always free.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big difference. To be the same exact app, Droid you get it free. Apple you got to pay weekly. That's why, and Apple
I
realizes
only want
one of
it
the
so
sales.
I can do video streaming with you guys and play No Man's Sky.
It's
That's it.
I had a nice Apple Mac Pro that somebody stole out of my car.
Is that the one John gave you?
Yeah, the one with all the L. Ron Hubbard stuff on it.
All the books, yeah.
Yeah, somebody stole that bitch. That was a $6,000 laptop, man.
I believe it. I really need one. I need one really bad.
People send her one. Send her one. What do you mean fire? Fire? What? Oh, you mean one of them fire pads? They're okay, but they're not great. No, I got a Google laptop that's just for doing radio shows. Oh, it's not real powerful. It's a Google notebook. I think I paid $300 for it at Target when I was in. I left one of my laptops home when I went to LA, so I needed one. So I went and bought one over there, and it was like $279 actually. I mean, it works really well, but it's got like 64 gigs of memory or 120. It's just it's a notebook. I mean, it's not a notebook. It's a computer or laptop, but it's not very, it's good for what I do. I wouldn't try to use anything else on it. You can watch videos on it and do radio and TV on it, but nothing complicated. The best chips for anything high powered is I can't it's not Apple, it's not Microsoft, it's the other one.
I'm looking on my computer here. Was it Inspiron?
Yeah, but they make this is a different company. They're really known for really crunching numbers. They have really good chips, really fast chips. But they're always cheaper than Microsoft and Apple is. Don't ask me. When it comes to my mind, I'll tell you. It's out of my mind right now. My favorite alien, that would be the guy who played what was it, Martian? What was the name of that stupid TV show from back in the day? My favorite, my Martian, yeah. That shit was so stupid. That shit was so stupid, people. Come on.
Uncle Marty from Martian.
Uncle Marty, yes. Yeah, that was back in the 50s, people.
2 antennas that came out, 2 rabbit ears when he had to talk to
Excuse me, Gene, I was not alive in the 50s, bitch. You best I will throw you out of my thing.
Ray Walston.
It's no, we already told you people in New Mexico are weird. And they're blue colored.
I used to live there. You know what it is?
They're blue colored and they're weird.
And they have like all this UFO alien sentimentality. I don't know how to say it. Like
only in Roswell. The rest of the state's
in Roswell, because that's where I live. The elementary schools would go to the planetariums for field trips.
Well, there's a lot of interesting people in Roswell. I mean, Believe it or not, there's actually some pretty good Mexican food in Roswell. I was really surprised. I've eaten there like 3 different times. That's way down at the end of the street. Yeah, well, it's on Main Street. It's like down at the end of town. It's a pretty big place. They got good food there. I was like, wow. I don't know now. I ain't been in there for 6 or 7 years now, but Alien I know moved there, so I can't go there anymore. So I don't want to get abducted or probed or something.
I remember
it's more than likely probed. That's more than likely probed. Yeah, see?
I think we determined early in the show that the aliens don't actually do probes.
This alien does. This one down here in the room with us does. You gotta watch some of these aliens. They are evil. No, Christopher. As far as I know, as far as real probes go, it may happen one time when you first go from being a child to puberty. That may be the time. But as far as most experiments go, there's no probing.
What about? Well, what are they confusing probes for tracking devices?
Well, that's from the government. The alien don't really need a tracking device. See, the alien, see right here, we do it right on Leah's forehead, right there. It's right there. They don't need it. They track you through your DNA, which, by the way, the U.S. government is working on, is being able to track people by their DNA. Once they have a DNA sample, they should be able to track you. Well, the aliens already do it that way. They just track you via your DNA. And remember, for the aliens, they're not trying to track all 8 billion of us. They're only trying to track the 1.5 billion that are being abducted.
Honestly, I don't think I'm all that important to them anymore. I feel like they've lost interest in me.
Yes. Well, you wouldn't have found me if you weren't. They'd have sent you to some dumbass. I'm sorry, but they would have. They wouldn't have sent you to me. They'd have sent you some dumbass. You know that. Pete, tell her. See, Pete came to me a couple of years ago. Pete was on his last wits. I don't even know how to say it. He was just done with everything. Between his everyday life and the shit that the aliens were putting him through, he was done. And he said, "Well, I must be useless. Nobody would treat anybody like this that was useful." I said, "No, you're just not looking at it the right way." And we spent some time together, 3 years. He's still a friend of mine, and finally, he started understanding some of the stuff that was going on. Then he started understanding that he could use some of his abilities, like his empathic and telepathic abilities. See, as humans, we let too much emotion get in our way sometimes. So it blocks out some of our abilities. And in his case, between what was going on with the aliens, his kids, and his current ex-wife, he remarried a contactee, by the way, and has been married to her since he married her. They madly love him. They so much in love, it makes me crazy sometimes. I'm like, that's enough, guys. Oh, no, we lost it. I don't care if y'all love each other. Stop. Before I put a voodoo hex on your ass or something. But he was truly, he's not the only one. I run into contactees and that don't even know they are. That are sometimes, and I've been there myself. I don't like to tell people that, hey, look, I understand how it is to be without hope, I guess, for different reasons. Everybody experiences for different reasons, but I do understand it. And I have been there myself, and it wasn't easy for me to climb it. Most people don't know it, but when I was young, I was a fucking alcoholic. In my 20s, I drank like a fish, man. Yeah. And it wasn't even a big thing down here. Everybody did. Everybody in my freaking family was alcoholics. All my friends were. Pretty much everybody in the state was. It was just an exceptional thing, an acceptable thing to drink. Well, all the drinking did was help me to mask stuff, help me to sleep, actually. It's really, really, truly what it does, because contactees have very, very, very vivid dreams, whatever they may be. They're just vivid. It's like living in a damn dream almost. I can't handle it anymore. Well, that's what I'm saying. You see things, so your abilities have to be activated so you can push back some of it or make sense of it. Either way will help deal with it.
All it keeps telling me is that I'm going to end up homeless in the middle of some downtown area, starving to death.
Well, if you got to end up homeless, fucking go to LA where they're giving out $600,000 condos.
Well, I'm going to walk there.
Hey, actually, Governor Newsom might fly you there. That crazy bastard. Oh, I was listening to that yesterday. Y'all be sure to tune in to News on the Flip Side Friday night. I got some serious bitches coming up, which we can't get into tonight because this show doesn't do that. Plus, there's another good one. I'm watching Newsweek. Oh, there's been a sudden flip-flop. Oh, it looks like Trump this, Trump that. And then I said, oh, damn, that bad Trump. And then later on, that same place, I said, God, the way Trump's going, this is going to be a landslide. I'm like, give me him. Just pick one, people. Make up your mind. But you can't trust Newsweek in anything they say, no matter what. I have not seen one time where Newsweek has said anything good about Trump. I just get tired of the lies, people. I don't, what do you mean who I'm voting for? Come ask me on Friday night and I'll tell you.
Isn't Newsweek's logo blue?
Yeah, they're as blue as you can get. What are you talking about? Californian people are weird too. Not as weird as the New Mexican people, mind.
No, it's red. Wow.
Well, you know what? In some ways, the California people might be more weird, but still, I don't know. In some things, maybe not. California has one of the largest abduction populations in the world, not just in our country, but in the world. But it's a per capita thing. I mean, it's 40 million people there. Texas is very high too.
There's homeless people everywhere now.
Which, you know what? And this is so funny. We're going to talk about this on Friday night because before something happened, there were hardly any. Where I lived, there was none. And all of a sudden, there's 10 cities everywhere. Yeah, Jesse, that is. Oh, you heard about that? Yeah, that's true. They've been firebombing them to get them out. Mm-hmm.
So
we'll talk about that on Friday night.
That's been an ongoing theme in my dreams for a really long time. Like I remember years ago, I'd have dreams of tent cities lining up and down the highways, like up and down California, down the highways. And that's literally what it is now. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Say, thank you, Governor Newsom. Thank you, Governor Newsom. Mm-hmm. No, people, all this stuff we're going to get in detail on Friday night. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this Friday night. What do you mean? No, that's not till July 12th. Yeah,
July 11th.
July 11th, that's right. And they'll do that. And then July 12th, the prosecutor that prosecuted Trump and the DA has to appear before Congress. Yeah, so we're going to talk about all of that stuff. Don't forget, we'll have an election panel, election night. Yes, there'll be 8 or 9 hosts there.
Hey, Joe,
every host on the network's welcome. Huh?
Who runs Congress?
We're not going to touch that. Aliens run Congress. No. Aliens run our Congress.
There's a Republican majority. Are they going to bring these two guys through the ringer or what?
I'm wondering how all this is going to pander out in a what is now? So July, August, September, October. So we're 4 months and 2 weeks from the election. People, we're there. I mean, you better make up your mind.
Yeah, I think
I don't hear that 20% of America ain't made.
A lot of people already have.
I think the majority of them have. We'll see. You mean that blue state, New Mexico? No, them weirdos are going to be voting for Uncle Biden. Why do you think I'm going to send the aliens to probe each and every one of them? Oh, yeah. I already made a deal with the gray. Any state that blows blue, everybody gets probed. And not in a nice way either. I'm just telling you ahead of time. I'm just warning you people. Illinois, that goes for you too up there. Anybody? No, I'm actually not voting red though. See, that's the bad part. I'm going to probably vote for Kennedy. Probably, yes. I can't vote for Crackerhead. I have lost so much money under Joe Biden. There's no way possible I can vote for him. No. I didn't lose this kind of money through COVID for 3 years that I've lost under Joe Biden. No, I can't. I just can't. I just can't. That's Trump. I mean, I don't have anything personally against Trump. I just he's orange. I don't know if I can vote for an orange person. I'm sorry. It's hard. He kind of looks like, y'all don't know what sherbet is. He kind of looks like sherbet.
Yeah, he looks like orange spray tan gone wrong.
He does a lot. Actually, I noticed he's changed it a little bit. Frankie, we only got a couple minutes, but what you got? What is the most visited place in the United States alien-wise? Ooh, that's all on who you ask. I will tell you this. It's more than likely near a military water base. So it's probably near a deep water channel and a military facility.
Probably Catalina Island.
Even though national parks do rank in the top 5 places to get abducted, really in top 4 places to get abducted. Yeah, it's an easy place to get you.
I'm going to say Catalina Island.
Yeah, that's just off of San Diego.
Well, it's outside of LA.
Oh, is
So,
LA?
Yeah.
Blunt Island right now is the number one place for people that, and there's never been a report there. So figure out how can it be the number one place.
What's it called?
At Blunt Island.
Well, I wonder what else
BLUNT.
its tourism is based off of.
So this is what goes on. There is an Agus cruiser base there. It's a disassembly base where they disassemble Agus cruisers and use the parts for whatever. There is a national park there. There is a deep water channel there, and there is a nuclear facility there for electricity. So you have 4 of the things you need to be in the top. Now, the way it got ranked was a long time ago, many moons ago, when Leah was like 12 or something. We went over there.
Like 400 years ago.
That we went as a group and went over there. And we were just cruising, taking pictures all over the place. We weren't really there doing any alien abduction and stuff or any alien stuff. We were just there, not sort of vacationing and taking pictures everywhere. So we see this plant. Jason, my friend Jason Wilson, starts snapping pictures. Now, what's funny about this picture is available on the icar1.com site. You can find it there. It even has the type of camera we use to take it when we took it the whole 9 yards. So we take this pictures. We get back to the hotel late at night. We're going through the pictures. We don't see anything in these pictures, nothing. So he gets home because we went to him really fast. He gets home, about a week passes. I get a phone call. Joe, I got to show you something. I'm going to send you something real quick. He sends me this email. I open it up. I'm like, shit, what is this? So on the island itself, what you see is you see the whole plant, and then you see 2 smokestacks going up in the air, and they got a little light blinking on a smokestack. When you look above the smokestack, you see a big, huge circle. And what makes it even weirder is the trickle of smoke coming out the smokestack is going up to the circle and picked up. And it's what reason you can see whatever this is because the smoke got wrapped up in whatever was there. Without the little smoke, the exhaust, you would have never seen this thing. Whatever it was pulling, so it looks like a big dropa stone with a hole in the middle, right? And you see the smoke. So we were all like, wow, I took it on Coast to Coast show, George Norrie. Still, a couple of weeks go by, we find something else. On the side of one of the towers is a UFO on an angle headed right for the middle of the hole. Perfect. Just, we're like, son of a bitch, man. It was a great picture. And that's why we keep it. It's still there today. And it's one of those things when you look at it, you're like, wow. And we didn't see it with the naked eye. It didn't see people. That's why I tell you, don't trust your eyes, trust your camera. Because a lot of times you're not going to see stuff. Same thing for paranormal people when they're ghost hunting. Don't trust your eyes, trust your camera, because the shutter speed.
I don't know, man. I've seen some things with my eyes too.
No, I'm not saying you're not going to see things with your eyes. That's not. But I'm just when you don't see anything, you should always check and see. What's that, Frank? Let me see if I can find it right quick. Let's see. ICAR1.com. Well, I only go to this site so often. I haven't actually worked on this site. This site was originally put up because there are some personal experiences there. This site was put up the day iCar was founded. And the reason it was is I didn't want to have to hear when I was talking about one of my Joe just thinks it's popular, so that's why Joe's talking about. No, actually, no. And there's another site called alienenigma.org that's even older than this one, that has stuff that's happened to us or stuff we've seen that we put up 24 years ago, because if anybody ever said that we were just jumping on the bandwagon, we could say, oh, no, why don't you go look for yourself? And that's foresight, people. That's what they call. Yes, morons. That's what they call foresight, foresight. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be an ass, but really sometimes I worry about y'all. I'm going to see if it's here. Give me a second or two. There's so many photos we put up here. In the old days, we used to make iCar One the one-stop shopping site. So what we did was we put it up, and that way, if you didn't understand something, you didn't see something, you could go there and maybe learn about it yourself. Yeah. Oh, and there's all kind of stuff on there. Actually, I think it's still linked to Peter Davenport's site. Yeah, I think it is. His tracking site. I've been trying to get the U database. It's not as easy as you people think it is. No, it hasn't been as much as I'd like to say. Yeah, it's easy to get. It's not really easy to get. Mainly because he just kind of retired. Oh, there's the Golf Breeze picture. Huh, that was crazy looking.
Ed Walters, I remember those.
Yeah, there's so much in here. Yeah, I mean, there's so much data and so many pictures from around the world. I don't think we've updated it. Oh God, in a few years. Okay. Let me see. Will it let me do this real quick? Let's see. Present. Screen share. And I think it's going to let me show it. Okay. No, maybe it isn't going to let me show. Oh, yeah, there it is. Add to screen. There we go. Let's just go ahead and blow it all the way up. I'll make the picture all the way big as it'll go. Let's go in here and blow it all the way up. Okay. Now, this is a picture. Yeah, you probably have. Now, if you look at this, you can see this is a base. I mean, not a base. This is just a power plant. You see the water. You see the little water coming out. And if you look up, you'll see the smoke coming out the stack right here. Oh, wait. I don't know if y'all can see it because the way I'm doing it. Let me do it a different way. Hold on. Let me do it like that. And let me put it on this screen. Do y'all see the arrow going around now?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, so on this first stack, the one to the left in the middle, if you look, you'll see some smoke coming out the top of it. And if you go up and to the left, you'll see this big disc. And this is a perfect disc. It's not like wobbly or weebly or anything. It's a perfect disc. At first, I thought what we got was a saucer, a big one. I thought we had picked up a saucer, and it still may have been a saucer waiting on its own scoutcraft. Whatever this was picking this smoke up and was making it visible. So we're going to scroll down a little bit, and here you can see it a little bit better. It's a little hazier, but you can see it's
you can see two of the gravity generators.
Yeah, you see them right here, and you see all this right here. But if you look right here, see this ring around this smoke stack? Right to the left of it is a craft.
Oh, yeah.
And it's on an angle for the center of this. So either this is a portal or this is a saucer itself waiting to pick this up. This is probably one of the best pictures anyone's ever got of this. I mean, I've never seen anything like, people are always talking about the Dropa stones, and it looks like a Dropa stone, but it's not. And see right here, it tells you when it was taken. It was taken on March 4th with a digital Canon A60 in Little Marsh Island, Florida. So it's 2004.
That's the year I graduated from high school.
So this is 20 years ago to the day is when this was done. So you can see it, and then you go back up to this one, and you see it all nice and pretty in color, and that's when you can see the saucer or whatever this thing is off to the left. I mean, you can clearly see it's there. It's definitely translucent. You can see the smoke here, and the smoke's coming up.
Well, whatever it is, I don't want to say it's translucent. It's definitely it's immune to optical detection. Yeah. And it's obviously spinning because the smoke from the smokestack is going in a circle and highlighting the bottom of it. Yeah.
And then you're not even sure what that's about. And then you see this little craft right here, and you realize that whatever this thing is waiting on this. Is it a saucer? Is it a portal? Or just let it out? Yeah. But it looks like it's bending it's kind of cockeyed, like it's moving up towards it. Which I can't say that for 100%, but it's there. No one to date can explain this. No one at the power plant. No one anywhere. No ufologists. No one can explain what this is.
No meteorologist can. I've never seen a cloud like that.
No, and everybody says the same thing. You know what's funny? The meteorologist said, no, there's something physically there. Two of them looked at it and said, there's something physically there. He said, whatever this is, he said, the smoke is being picked up by it. And as it craft or whatever, and he called it craft, whatever it is turning, he said the smoke is being distributed around the craft. And he said it must have been there for at least a few minutes to be so well covered. Now, when you're looking at it on the clean picture, you can't really see the hole in the center right here, which there is. Yeah. But when you go down to here, you can clearly see it. There's a hole in the center. But you can see the gaps in it where you can't see anything. But you can see the edge. The edge is so nice and clean. There's no doubt that there's something here. And see, in this one, you can actually see the smoke being pulled right here. So this is what's even better about it. This smoke is actually moving up and away from this, but this craft is actually pulling the smoke this way. So was this an accident, or was there something in this smoke they could use? Or is it simply they're just sitting there because they were
What kind of
invisible?
smokestack is it?
It's off of a power plant, but this is probably just steam.
Yeah.
It's probably off one of the turbines. And it's probably what it is. And these are just other weird shit we've taken. This here and here is a craft landing at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. We got it on video. We still have it. This is actually a picture taken from the TV. This is just a great picture. It's it tells you, we usually tell you what cameras we're using. This is Eglin Air Force Base. This is a radar drone with some kind of bubble encasing it, not the white dome that's on. This thing actually encases the whole thing. Wow. The whole base, the whole ground base and everything. It's what it reminds me of. I don't know if y'all remember that stupid spy movie where they used to retire spies, and if they tried to escape, they'd send this weird round bubble out to get them. That's what it reminds me of. It is crazy. This one was taken in 2001. This is drawings of people, friends of ours, who have seen stuff, what they think it looks like. But this is what they actually think a gray looks like. And they're not just little sweetsy, nicey, softy little gray that everybody makes them out to be. It's
they're kind of scary looking.
Wait, go back.
See, they're not. They're a little bit harsher in the face, a little harder in the face.
Hold on. No. Don't scroll back.
Okay, you look at it. They're all over this site, by the way. There's little. This site has little pieces, just like the Alien Enigma site does. There's little just pieces.
Like it's got a face on its. Like, what's going on with the torso? Is that like a body?
It's a multiple
down
image.
Here.
Yeah.
It's a multiple image, but you can see down here where the shoulders start and stuff like that. And each one of these pages that have pictures on it have these on it. And it's not, you see these, and this is stuff that we've taken. That's why it's up here. This is great, whatever the hell this is. This thing is just, I thought it was a screw up on the film. Whatever it is, it's just at Pensacola Beach, by the way. It's a 35 millimeter camera, just cruising along in the sky. And without the camera, I wouldn't have seen it. I was taking a picture of something else, and it came up. This little thing, this is a blur coming off of something that flashed by. And as it did, this little thing up here popped up. You're like, what the? So, I mean, that's what I tell people. Always take lots and lots and lots and lots of pictures. No, Frankie, that's the best way to do it, because you never know what you're going to get. Well, you see, they got stuff like this. You can always look at these. This is an inversion of this. TR3B.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the one recovered at Russia. This is just one cruising along. This could be the one over the dam. The base we were just looking at.
That one looks like the one from the TV show Lost in Space. That's Ed Walters below there.
Yeah,
the one with the orange face. That looks like Jupiter 1 from.
And it could be, as far as you know. That's the thing when you look at these. This is another one of Ed Walters right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are Polaroid. I know that cigar. I've seen that one a lot.
So, but I mean, on this particular site, people, there are tons and tons and tons and tons. We haven't even got, I mean, there's more here. I mean, these are taken by everyday people. Some of them could be hoaxes. Some of them could be real. By the way, this is probably a hoax. Maybe. This is just some chick. Hey, take my picture and a UFO shows up.
Mm-hmm. Or her hat blew off.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. You never know. That could be true, man. I don't want to rule that out. I don't want to rule that freaking out. That could be true. That could be the whole explanation for that. Another TR3B. Yeah, another TR3B. Something's in here I can't see at the moment. These are just little ones being picked up. This is probably being taken out of an airplane.
That's DC 1952.
Yeah, and there's just so much stuff in here. And you notice the majority of them are sources. They're not anything else. There are other craft, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Just in this, it just seems to be sources. Were we on this one yet? Yeah, we're just on this one.
What about the orbs? What about the orbs that seem to be...
Most orbs, I can assure you, with my expertise in digital photography photography and whatnot, most orbs on digital medium are just water spots and dust in the air that are reflecting light.
No, I don't mean that. I mean,
but
like,
real
Oh,
orbs,
you mean okay? I know what you mean. Oh, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
real orbs, if they're on emulsion film, are some sort of energy ball. And I don't know how to explain them, but they do exist.
But
I'm
I think she's talking about the probes.
Okay.
So they got orbs that are this big, orbs that are this big. They got orbs the size of your house. They've been seen all over the place. And as far as I know, they're not man craft. They're just probes. I can't prove it 100%, but it just seems like maybe except for the really, really big ones, they might have somebody in them. But all the rest of them are just types of probes they use to follow people around, check things out, see what's going on.
So
this is more Ed Walters stuff here and here.
what about something? Okay, have you ever gotten any reports on something that looked like it was changing shapes and like going into itself, like in a way, like I don't know how to explain it, like folding into itself in a way and like changing from
There've been reports of some craft being able to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
And it also didn't seem to have like a solid, it looked to be like liquid or electrical or something like that. Like it wasn't a solid metal looking.
Well, they've got orbs that are what I would call liquid. They roll around inside each other and it folds over each other. It rolls around. There's also craft that have these sources that come out the water that have these weird like globs of golden orbs that just come dripping off the sides of them. I'm not even sure what the hell they are. I've seen that personally. I've seen that in Pensacola, Florida, with the people from Unsolved Mysteries and 500 other people on the bridge. 500 other people, including the mayor of Pensacola, police chief, and the fire chief. See, you notice how we do these when you go to a site. Santa Monica, California, Starksboro, Vermont, Tasmania, Australia, Baghdad, Arizona, Melbourne, Australia. I mean, we just go on and on and on.
Fighter.
Yeah, right there, Foo Fighter. So as you go through, this was the United Kingdom, whoever told me that, yeah. And the Netherlands, and as you go through this website.
Wait, how is that 2003? Is that what kind of planes are those? If that's 2003, the English one.
Wait, let me go back and find it right here.
How is that? Is that when you uploaded it? I guess. So those look like World War II.
No, this is what it says it is. This must have been some type of show going on. Goodwood, West Sussex, September 5th, 2003. It even gives you who took the picture if you want to go look. Here we go, right here, 9/17/3, and then it goes through. So a lot of them do have stuff written by the person who's seen it, and you see there's quite a bit of information in here. Y'all could spend a long time, people, going through the site just to see what's on. I'll be honest with y'all, there's so much shit on it I forgot. I'm not kidding you. There's so much stuff on this website that I forgot. There are dissertations. There's all kind of stuff. This is something coming outside of the volcano. This was in 2000. This was in 2000, 2001, 2001. We tried to keep the dates similar in 1999. As you can see, we're scrolling through. This, I'm pretty sure, was a hoax. We've talked about it.
Oh, yeah. Jaime Maussan highlighted that one a lot. It kind of goes in between the buildings a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's kind of squirrely.
I'm pretty sure it's a hoax. Not 100% sure, people, but I'm pretty sure. And I mean, there's just more and more in 1996, 1997. So, I mean, we stopped around 2005 adding. And one of these days when I got time where I give somebody keys to the website, they can go on and add some more. But that's why we always called it one-stop shopping. If you go down the list over here, abduction criteria, you want to know if you've been abducted, there you go.
Tell me what the criteria are.
There's a bunch of criteria. There's 50 of them on this page. This is 25 of the 50 abduction criteria. You know why the other 25 aren't up there, right?
No,
so we know who's lying. That's right. So we know who's lying and who's telling the truth. There's actually quite a few more abduction criteria now, but the awakening, what causes the awakening? Ladies and gentlemen, awakening is when someone awakens and knows there's something going on, something that's happened to them. There's some type of something. You wake up, you start realizing, you start having these dreams that are toxic or overwhelming, and then your mind starts realizing that something's going on. You start having an awakening period where you realize, holy shit, this isn't normal. This is not what everybody lives like on this planet. And it awakens you. And it awakens you to a lot of things. But dreams is usually where it starts, and then it works its way out.
I'm tired of being sober.
Yes. Well, and see, that's why you're having such a hard time at night, because you are sober. And I don't tell anybody to drink, but man, sometimes when you're an abductee or contactee, the type of dreams you have to do something. That's why so many of them smoke weed or take different kind of pills. But I notice most contactees don't get addicted and they don't become alcoholics or drug addicts. They just do what they need to so they can sleep at night.
Just enough to get by.
Sorry, but like there was a time where I thought I could not survive without smoking weed, and here I am going on like 6 or 7 months of not smoking, and I feel crazy.
That's right,
because insane.
Because your body's so used to it. Sleepwalking, even driving while asleep. We got so many cases where people have gone and woke up and found sand in their floorboard of their car, extra miles on it. People who we started telling people, click your miles to 0. That way you'll know if you left. These are people who actually were brought somewhere to be taken, is what happened. They were called, I guess.
Can people be not forced, but can they have a mind control put over them to where it's like they just do things that they don't?
Yeah, that's what 3 is about: sleepwalking, even driving. So they call you. They say, "Okay, Leah, we're not going to be able to get here for some reason. We need you to come to us here," and you just follow the command blindly without even thinking.
And see, that's what I feel like I've been doing for. I don't know, like almost 20 years now. I remember there was a time where I was in Arcata, Blue Lake, California. And
see, that's why they brought you to iCar, so we can stop that shit.
And it was like, I wanted to get on my bike and start riding down the 101 freeway. And one night I attempted to do so. And my roommates came driving up the driveway on their property, and they're like, "What are you doing? It's like midnight. You're going for a bike ride?" And honestly, it was like I snapped out of it. And I'm like, no, I guess I'm gonna go back in the house. And then a few days later, I actually did it. And
because you were being called somewhere.
Well, it all got messed up. Everything. I don't know how to explain it. Like
because okay, so when they call you, you have to still be in some type of awareness, so sometimes they're calling you, say, to come meet them or to be in a certain place. Sometimes they're calling you to actually help someone out, but you don't always realize it. Sometimes your brain
isn't down to LA, and it was for a reason. It was for something specific, and I didn't realize it at the time. And then something happened, and it all came flooding into my knowing, like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. And little by little, life started to happen, and I started to forget about it all. I had a baby, I started going to college, my mom died, life happened. And
yeah, life happens.
And then I forgot about it, and now here I am back in the midst.
And contactees will tell you when you forget about it, they punish your ass. Whether that's true, that's up to the contactees, but they talk about it all the time. Electronics seem to turn off or quit working when you're around.
Dude, nothing works for me anymore.
That's every contactee I know. The sense of being watched or followed, even when you know there's no one around. Meeting strangers who say they know you.
Yeah.
Didn't you? You were just telling me about an experience like that just recently.
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah. So it's the meeting strangers who say they know you and have a sense you have met them before. Doesn't mean it's a good thing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes that's something else, military abduction or someone trying to get information out of your head. So you always have to be careful with that.
For me, I think I've lived this life so many times, and now I'm on this path that I've probably lived already. I don't know, but I'm being reminded that, oh my God, you have a really long ways to go. You have a really long road ahead of you. Your life's going to be really shitty and hard from here on out. Good luck.
Doesn't have to be there. It doesn't have to be there. You do what you need to be doing, and it'll straighten out just like it's supposed to.
Do what I need to be doing. If I knew what I needed to be doing, I'd be doing it.
Yes. Well, you're reading this list tells you half of it right off the bat. Then they got bruises and scoops and marks and indentations.
Dude, yeah, look at this. I don't know where it came from, but I got some crazy bruise on the inside of my arm right here.
Yeah, which happens a lot when they grab you and you struggle.
Yeah, I don't fucking know where it came from. It just
but is that more of a My Labs thing, or is that more of an alien? Because I mean, the aliens
could be both. Could be both. Yeah, because sometimes you'll be all calm, so they'll just be letting you sit there, and then you'll do something like try to run, and then one of them will just reach out and grab you.
That's a fingerprint. Look at this bruise, Joe. This is something.
That's what I'm saying.
Something grabbed me.
Something grabbed hold to you.
I don't know if you can see it.
No, not really.
It's hard to see from here.
Let me see. It's because I have this stupid phone, but there's it looks like fingerprints, like right here. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, well, if it's on the insides of your thighs or the inside of your arms, a lot of times that's what it is. It's going to be a fingerprint. Family history of abductions. Child dreams of strange encounters with non-human beings when you were a child. Detailed descriptions of extraterrestrials such as hands and feet or skin color. Loving meeting people who say they have had contact with aliens and meeting other people. I don't know why it's got 11 and they need to fix that. The person has seen a craft. The person has seen an alien in their home. A sense of someone is coming for you. That something has happened, but you can't remember what. You don't like me reading this list, do you, Leah? It's making you uncomfortable. They know who's on the phone when it rings. They call, knocking at doors.
I've thrown myself so far off course that my life just from now on is just pure punishment.
It's that can always be fixed. Experiments done on them, knowledge of things like the blue plasma, having knowledge of inside the craft, eye colors, the same as blood types. Weird. Blood types negative. New understanding of the world and the knowledge around you. This just these are just easy people. This is just 25. There's way more than this, but we use this for people who are just. Now this is a Drake equation, John, but we use this for people.
The J equation is actually better.
I cannot work.
It's been updated. It just needs to be updated
anymore. After realizing that my life is basically on a crash course.
Look at this young guy.
Oh, who is that fella?
Look at this young guy.
You have hair.
I know, lots of it too. But see, I still got my sunglasses on my head. Somebody asked me one time, they says, because you're losing your hair. I said, no, go back and look at pictures when I'm young. You'll see I still wear them. This is actually a really good article. This was done by a cub reporter from the Times who gave us the whole living section to do this article on us.
Wow.
And this is about iCard research that we've done. You see I'm holding Bob. That's Bob right there. Oh. That's how old Bob is. Bob's been around for a while.
How big is that thing? It looks big in that picture.
That's because it's up close. It's actually pretty big. It's as big as a human head. I-Core questionnaires. All kind of different questionnaires. Reptilian encounter, gray alien questionnaire. Have you been abduction questionnaire? Abducted contactee education.
Read the gray alien one.
It's just we make them extremely long so that people who are not real contactees won't finish them. That's why they're like this. And an abductee will finish this in no time at all. They will blow through this in an hour or two.
Joe, do you remember how we met? Do you remember the first time I made contact with you guys? Back in 2015 or 2014?
I'd have to think about that. Jesus.
So I vaguely remember. And it was I woke up from these crazy freaking dreams I've been having. And this was before I ever got pregnant. This is before I had Liam. This is before my mom died and all this stuff. This was when I was honestly at a decent part of my life. I was pursuing a college degree. I had just got admitted into a university. And anyway, I wanted to get a college degree. And then I'm living by myself and I start having crazy dreams again. And so I decided, all right, it's time to go and figure out what it all is. Why did I see an alien face to face when I was a child? Why am I having all these weird dreams? And I just basically started Googling alien research stuff and came across iCar. and I had emailed Icar like you know, my experience, like this is what happened to me and this is what's happened to me now with my dreams. And I don't know how long it took, but I believe
Forever.
it took honestly like maybe less than a month before I heard back from someone. And I don't think it was you, it was someone
That wasn't me.
else.
I don't usually answer. It's usually one of the other, which right now we're in the middle of changing all of our directors around, but it's usually one of the directors that answer. It's one. See, this is the Alien Enigma site. It's usually somebody in an organization for a couple of reasons. One, they like to filter who I talk to because they know I got X amount of time, so they really do like to filter who I'm
Thank you for
talking
giving
to.
me so much of your time, Joe.
And so it's just one of those things. See, Alien Enigma. So here is 50 signs that you could be, 54 signs that you could be. Have you seen a hooded figure near your home? Have you had frequent sporadic ringing in your ears?
Yes.
Have you had insomnia?
Yes.
So you need to read this list because you're gonna key off in this list a lot. This is alienenigma.org, but these sites that were put up so that people could go through and see before they contacted us if it was worth contacting us.
Well,
these
see,
are
I don't
different
even
cases.
need to read a list to know what I've seen. You know what I mean? Like I know that there's something going on. I know that my dreams have sent me to places, or like I've been sent to places and it's just disguised as dreams.
But
I
you
don't know how
see,
to
when
explain
you look at this, every page has one of these drawings on it. These are legit drawings from people who have had experiences, and we see like these. They're just all over the place, and they're just spread around the site so that people, when they're going through, because people will key off on. Matter of fact, we got into a big lawsuit. Look at this one. We got into a big old lawsuit because I can't think of his name now. Used one of our pictures for his book cover. And I wouldn't have known. I invited him on to the thing, and he came on board. And then he showed the cover, and Linda seen it and flipped out. She flipped out. She was like, "Well, that's our shit." Yes. Mm-hmm. This is just different places you can go for sightings and other things out there. There's a national reporting agency open for chat. See, here's another one. See how their heads are shaped. It's not quite what everybody thinks they are. This is one of Larry Hatch's maps right here. This is one of the first ones you can see because there's very little in there. This is in 2000. Look at the difference. But you see what I'm talking about. If you look, almost the majority of sightings are by deep water areas. See it right up here along the East Coast, all down the West Coast. And almost everywhere you see blotches in the middle, there's water. Like here's the Great Lakes right here. Here's the Mississippi River right here. So, I mean, it kind of shows you. I think they use. Y'all can't. Oh, it won't let y'all see him. I wonder why.
You have to present it to the screen if you want us to see it.
Oh, it took us off the screen. What happened?
Yeah.
Oh, because I switched. Never mind. Then we ain't gotta worry about it.
Well, they say only so much of the ocean has been discovered, right? Like only so much of the ocean.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%. So where would the best place be for them to hide? I mean, other than the ocean.
Well, and what also the deep forests as well. I mean, we have only of the 30% land, we've only barely uncovered maybe 12%.
Well, I think there's going to be a matter of time. I mean, with human population growth, I feel like it's just a matter of time before those no-man zones end up being habited.
But there's some deep forest in America, South America. There's not much in Europe, but the steppes of Asia, way western Russia, they have huge forests. You know, where Tunguska happened, no one lives out there, so they could be easily hiding bases out there as well. I mean, but most of them are in the ocean, I'll guarantee.
You know what? Let me. This might be a good one for Leah to deal with. I'll have to deal with it when I come back. Anyway, guys and girls, we got to get out of here. We're way into Michelle DeRoche's time. She's already mad at me, so I'm getting my ass.
Yeah, we're a half hour over.
Yes, and so we've been misbehaving again tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thank you, Matt. So, where, Matt? Oh, you're in Illinois. I know where you are now. It took me a minute for you to register in my head. No, I mean, alienenigma.org. That's a personal site. So there's some personal stuff on there. And then there is ICAR1.com. And then there's a lot of shit on there. And whenever I get caught up on all the UPRN stuff and the radio stuff, I'll get all back to that. Or maybe I'll put somebody on. Maybe I'll find one of my friends who like doing websites and let them handle the UPRN site and let them on. Maybe I'll give them a show or something. But to do it, it's just a lot of stuff. It's a lot for me to keep up with. And until I have time to sit down and start putting directors back on board. By the way, we are looking for directors for all states and all countries. I didn't fire everybody. I put everybody on extended leave until we decide how we want to redo. The organization worked great for the first 20 years, 25 years it was around. Now it needs to be brought up to speed for a more modern, woke era. Yes, aliens are woke. My ass, people. Aliens are not woke. You go tell the Grays don't probe me and see what they tell you, buddy.
Yeah.
But we got to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. I am Joe Montaldo, Jay McDickles, Leah Dunbar. We're all here to hang out. Don't forget, Friday. Well, every Friday now until Election Day will be a good show. No matter what, there's a lot of stuff to cover.
A lot of fireworks are going to start coming. I mean, we haven't even seen the half of it yet.
July 11th. When is the 12th? Let's go look at a date right quick. What's the first Friday after the 11th? Is will be the 14th. We might have to do a special show. We might have to air on Wednesday for News and the Flip Side on this particular. Well, we'll see how it goes, and we'll go from there. Christopher, no, really, everybody in New Mexico is whacked, man. No, just in Roswell. No, all the rest of the state's nice. People in Carlsbad is nice. You go to the Crystal Caverns; it's real pretty down there. And then you got to like until you go to Roswell, and then they're like running around with ray guns and shit. You want some coffee? Let me put the ray gun on you. You want some food? I got 2 ray guns for that, buddy.
Yeah.
No, the Roswell Museum's still open. I haven't been in, I don't know, 8 years or so, but they're still open. Mm-hmm. I haven't been invited lately. I guess I'm in a doghouse again. It's them blue people down there. I'm always in a doghouse with the blue people. And I got a lot of blue friends. Jimmy, we're not actually talking about physically blue people. Dumbass. I got a lot of blue friends in California, too. I said, so they're not all blue out there if you've been out there. Well, no, I'm not red, so I'm in between. I'm a centrist, so I like hating on both sides. Mm-hmm. No, no. I know what you're talking about. So I'll have to get you her name. She's in Hong Kong now. She used to be in Beijing, but for some reason she moved to Hong Kong. She said, she said Beijing was getting too restrictive. She is our Chinese director for ICAR. She's going to be retiring soon, but she's our Chinese director for ICAR. Yes. Well, she's retiring because she just had 3 kids. She had 1 2 years ago, and she had twins this year.
Wow.
So her husband said, baby, you need to watch the kids and not the aliens. And I told her they might be alien kids as far as you know.
They might be aliens. You don't have to look up and down.
So we will be looking for a director to replace her. We'll be looking for at least 6 directors in China. We have 7 in India, so we're probably okay in India. But we're always looking for some. Most of Europe will be looking to replace directors. Most of the USA will be looking to replace directors. Well, in all fairness to them, they've been without leadership for like 6 years. Yes, because the boss has been busy. But that's all changing around now. No, we're bringing people back in. Well, it wasn't that. I had a lot of good friends who were high up in the organization who passed away or got sick. We had 5 directors get cancer, breast cancer, all within like 3 months of each other. Only 4 of them made it. One of them didn't. My national director, D. Andrew, eventually killed her. But so it got to be a little dangerous. We had a good friend of mine, November, who was working on special reports for us. All of a sudden, out of blue, got scared that it may have been something related, and it may have been. So, and a few other people, when you get 5 women in the same organization get cancer all within 5 months of each other, it seems a little bit more than a coincidence.
Yeah, it's not contagious like that.
Yeah, so, and they all lived in different parts of the United States, and they were all different ages. So I don't know, but anyway, we pay attention to that kind of stuff, and it goes into the database like everything else does. Well, if you're looking for we're looking for directors in Canada. What do you mean, Michelle? I got Michelle plenty busy. I'd love to make Michelle a director in Canada, but I keep her busy, and what I don't have her doing, her family's got her doing. And if her family ain't got her doing something, Amelia's got her doing something. She's a busy woman. Yeah, she's very busy. But anyway, on that note, we got to go, and thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. Be sure to tune in Friday and come catch some shit. We're going to be just wreaking nothing but havoc on Friday night.
It's going to be fireworks.
Yes, I'm telling you, from this Friday on, it's going to get crazier and crazier each Friday.
Why?
Because we're only 4.5 months out of the election. And 4 months and 2 weeks, everybody will be clicking who's going to be their president, and we will be there on that night. We all care. What do you mean? I make far more money under the last two than I did under this one. So, what is that?
Yeah, we have exactly 2 more days for more fireworks to go off. So, I mean,
let's see. Let me see. November 2nd is so. I guess it's going to be Friday, November 1st, or Monday, November 4th, because the 2nd is a Saturday. I don't know. They might do an election on Saturday. They don't usually.
No, it'll be on that following Tuesday.
Yeah, so be sure to check it out. We'll all be there, ready to go, just wreaking havoc. I'll have a fifth of bourbon in my hand. I might even have a cigarette. I ain't had one of them in 20 years. All right, I'll get a cigar. How's that? Okay, no cigarette.
There you go.
A cigar. All right, I have a fifth of bourbon. Have some whiskey drinking going on. What? Who said that? I will have the aliens probe you personally. Look, I know. You see Bob back here? His friends are scared of me. Don't make me send them to your house, buddy. I'm telling you,
They're a lot scarier with their skin on.
That's right. When I skinned him and hung his skin on my fence, they never came to my house again. They were like, whoa, wait a minute. This human's a little crazy. Idiots. You should never. Anyway, we got to go. Thank you again for tuning in United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. We will see y'all all Friday. Be sure to bring your information and your questions with you for Friday night on whatever candidate you may be backing, whether it's Joe Biden, Kennedy, or is he JFK too?
JFK Jr. Bobby Kennedy. No, he's Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, Robert Kennedy. He's Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s kid.
Okay. So we got it now. So anyway, y'all come check out Kennedy. Y'all check it. We're going to be talking about all of them. Kennedy, as far as I know, is not leaving the election. He told the Democrats, he gave them the, I don't know what to tell you. Obviously, somebody hacked him off. Oh, thank you about the tie. It's very cute, isn't it? I actually like wearing it with that burnt orange shirt I got. But yeah, regardless. But anyway, we got to go. Be sure to go see Michelle DeRoche on the Outer Room. Tell her hi for everybody. Tell Leah said she's crazy.
Ooh, what?
Don't worry about it. Good night, everybody.
Call me Joe.